A beautiful view of historic Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon, although it has gone through some changes since that first track meet was held here in 1921. Like now it's a all-weather surface, not cinders, and a metric 400-meter oval, not 440 yards. And then, of course, you got the Bowerman Tower and all. But it remains the premier facility in America, and the 2024 NCAA Track and Field Championships, the premier meet for college athletes. Some of those obviously with an eye on the Olympic trials and the games in Paris. Women's Day at Hayward today. Semis on the track except for the 10K final. And then we have 5 of the 8 field event finals. The men's finals, those are on ESPN2. You can see them tomorrow evening. Then we're back on Saturday with the women's final on E1, the mothership for the ladies. This is the 42nd national championship for the women. And the teams involved this year, at least in contention, are familiar names. Look at this. Arkansas, LSU, Texas, Oregon, Florida. That's 25 titles between them. Now, each of those teams bring giant rosters, and they have athletes competing across multiple events. There are 21 events in all, and don't be surprised if it comes down to the very last one, the 4x400-meter relay, to decide the championship. But that's days away. We have to live in the moment. And at this moment, I'm worried about the short relay, and I'm worried about introducing Dwight Stones, Dan O'Brien, and Lara Overton. Gang?
All right, John, we're going to get kicked off like we always do with the 4x100-meter relay. There are the collegiate and meet records set last year by the University of Texas. Tennessee has the best time in the country this year. 3 semifinal hits, and there is Ole Miss's part of their team. There is their lineup, 3 seniors and a sophomore. We already have a scratch. Georgia has scratched out of lane 8.
And there's Mackenzie Long. We're going to see her. She's going to have a busy day. 100. She'll run the relay here, 100 and 200. And there you get a chance to see the hometown favorite, Oregon Ducks. Lily Jones will lead off, and they'll go to Jaden Mays, who will also see her. Same schedule as Mackenzie Long, the 100 and the 200. She's the Pac-12 champion in both of those events coming in here. And believe it or not, Oregon was the only Pac-12 team that qualified in the 4x100-meter relay. And that is just kind of heartbreaking. There's some fast squads in the Pac-12.
So like all lane races here at the semifinals, the first 2 finishers across the line are automatic qualifiers to Saturday's final. And then the next 3 fastest times over the 3 semifinal heats will also advance. So a premium on finishing first or second in these opening races. Oregon in 5, Ole Miss in 6. Pretty even on this first leg. Good exchange for both Ole Miss and Oregon.
Well, there you see the 2 stars. That's Mackenzie Long for Ole Miss and Jaden Mays for Oregon. Mackenzie Long, it looks like she got the better of her on the second leg for the Ole Miss running Rebs.
Ole Miss passing the baton first, a little bit gap there, but Oregon is still hanging in there. Ole Miss out in front. A clean pass here wraps it up for them, and they did so. Ole Miss followed by Oregon. That's 1 and 2 right now. But Texas Tech making a run at that second spot, and they get it. Ole Miss followed by Texas Tech. Those are your automatic qualifiers. And then Oregon third, who will have to rely on a time qualifier, which means they got to sweat it out over the next 2 semifinal heats.
That's the fastest time we've seen a college team run this year. That's way better than their season best of 42:47. And a school record, an Ole Miss school record. What a start for Mackenzie Long and the running Rebs. There you see Ole Miss right in the middle of the screen, Oregon on the right. Oregon had a good start there. They went with Lily Jones. She was 5th in the Pac-10 in the 100 meters. And there you see Mackenzie Long get the baton with Jaden Mays not far behind, but outstanding baton passes for the Ole Miss running Rebs, and they were absolutely in the clear. Total domination. They can't run the relay much better than this. As you see Janiyah Bowers, who just missed qualifying by 1 place to run here at the championships, finish it off for the running Reb for the ladies.
So Ole Miss and Texas Tech 1 and 2, they automatically qualify. Oregon at 43:02. They will have to wait to see if that time holds up as a time qualifier into Saturday's final. All right, so we're off and running, of course, with the 4x100 relay. A lot of events to be seen today, and it's all about how many athletes these teams are able to qualify through to Saturday's final. And today, I got to tell you, is a lot about sprints on the ladies' side here in these semifinals.
Well, it really is. And you know, what's interesting is we're looking at a couple of SEC teams as the favorites. And no surprise, LSU and Arkansas, they come in here absolutely loaded in the sprints. LSU's going to try to get this thing done the old-fashioned way in the sprints and the hurdles. And there you see Brianna Liston. She's going to do double duty in the 100 meters and the 200. We'll also see her in the 4x1. Shania Bellamy, both hurdles, and Leah Phillips, both hurdles. So this is just your typical LSU squad coming in here trying to win this thing, but they got 22 entries. Here you see where Arkansas is going to score their points in the 400 meters. We've never seen this before. 3 athletes from the same team. They lead the country under 50 seconds in the 400 meters. And Lara, there's more points here just than sprinting events.
Hey, we may have started with the sprints, but do not overlook the distance events. This evening, you have returning champions all across the field, and that includes the women's 800 meters, in which you have the 3 most recent national champions all looking to advance to Saturday's final. That's the Stanford duo of Juliet Whitaker and Roisin Willis, and then LSU's Michaela Rose, who is the reigning outdoor 800 meter champion, and University of Florida phenom Parker Velby has won 4 national titles in the last 12 months. She will be on track tonight looking to vie for national title number 5 in the 10,000 meters and get the Gators rolling in hopes of winning another team title at the end of the week.
But the key is getting your athletes through from today to Saturday as we get ready now for the second of the 3 semifinal heats in the 4x100 meter relay. And this heat features the South Carolina Gamecocks. They will start in lane number 6.
Well, and they'll go with Jayla Jamison off the top. Santira James, Isaiah Akins, and Jamisha for the Bowerman watch list individual. Just a freshman. Look at that young team. 3 freshmen and a junior there for the South Carolina Gamecocks. They've gone 42-46, just 1/100th of a second faster than Ole Miss. And there you see Arkansas, Ariane Linton, Rosie Effion, Kaylin Brown, and Amber Anning. So 3 400 meter runners go here in the 4x1 for the Arkansas Lady Razorbacks. And there you see the lineup. Keep an eye on Texas there in the outside, 43-37 as a season's best. But they're the defending champions. And remember how powerful that team was last year with Rashida Adeleke and
Julian Allred.
Julian Alfred. Keandra Davis, the only returning athlete on that team, that 4x100 meter team. Lots of changes there in Austin, Texas this year, and they got kind of a little bit of a slow start, but this women's team has really gelled late in the season and put themselves in a good chance to get a good trophy here at the national championships.
And of course, Texas, along with Oklahoma, will be joining the SEC next season, making that conference only stronger as we're focusing on 2 SEC teams in this particular heat. Arkansas in lane 5, South Carolina in lane 6.
Arkansas has gone 42-70 for a season best this year.
They are number 6 in the country. South Carolina, number 2. Good start for Jayla Jamison of South Carolina in lane 6. And she ran up on her outgoing runner. Got to keep that baton moving.
That's Texas going well on the outside in the second lane. That's Kavona Davis from last year's relay squad.
Actually, Texas A&M also in the mix here. But so far it's South Carolina, but third legs for Arkansas and A&M, making it tighter. Looks like Arkansas passing first, and Amber Anning, she will be tough to catch. Arkansas and South Carolina, just like we thought it would be, but in the reverse order. South Carolina having a little bit of trouble with the baton passes, and that looks like a school record for Arkansas. 42-66. And 42-97 for South Carolina. So Arkansas a little bit overachieving and South Carolina underachieving, but they both got through with automatic qualifiers.
Well, Arkansas had outstanding passes, especially on number 2 and number 3. Right here you see Ariane Litton. She's qualified in the 100 meters. She's going to be passing to Rosie Effiong, so who we will see in the open 400 meters. Good pass there, Rosie. No slowdowns or anything. And then that's South Carolina just inside. Centuria James giving Rosie everything she can. And at this point, South Carolina is ahead. And Kaylin Brown had to look back just briefly, but once she got the baton, look at how she begins to separate just a little bit. And an outstanding pass, got it early in the zone to Amber Anning, and Amber Anning with that deceptive stride, she just brings it home for the ladies Razorbacks. Nobody even close, and that is really a tidy relay for the Arkansas Lady Razorbacks.
So Arkansas, with a school record, gets the first place and the automatic qualifier, along with South Carolina. Texas at 42.97, better than Oregon in the first heat, but they both have to wait to see if time gets them through to the final. So, John, we got a couple of good relays already in the books, but there was a lot of action last night during the men's semifinal.
Yeah, they got things started here on day 1 at the NCAA championships. The 10K, well, late race excitement, late race chaos, late race drama. Haftam Samuel, who from New Mexico was the favorite in this race, and with 2 laps to go, you see, there you go. They had the big one like it was at Talladega. Patrick Kiprop of Arkansas goes down, kind of ran up on Ernest Chariot. Samuel of New Mexico, Alex Phillip, you can see all went down. Samuel pops back up, and in those last 800-meter closes, runs a PR 28:07 and takes the victory over Victor Kiprop. Patrick Kiprop able to limp home bloodied in 8th place. USC, well, they've jumped into the title picture with 15 points in the long jump. Johnny Brackens, we'll also see in the hurdles final. He finishes 4th, 8 meters 3 is his top mark. And then J.C. Stevenson, 8th to 1st in round 6 with a PR 8:22 to win. And the Trojans now in position for their first national title. Nobody has more in the history of this event, but their first since 1976. And after the first day, Ole Miss, well, they're in a tie for 4th, all because of one guy, Tarek Robinson O'Hagan. Here in the shot, 68 feet 6 inches for the victory. He sweeps the shot put, the indoor champ, the outdoor national champ as well. 7th in the hammer, hotty toddy. Ole Miss very much in it after day 1. Guys?
All right, John, I remember the Trojans winning that title back in 1976 in Philadelphia. I can't believe it's been all that time since they're in contention to win another one. All right, so third and final semifinal heat, where we're looking at LSU, the Tigers of LSU, number 4 in the country this year with 42.49.
Well, they are absolutely rolling, coming off their 8th consecutive win of the SEC championships. There we see Leah Phillips on the 3rd leg. Tima God Bless, the freshman, will run anchor, and Brianna Liston, the star from Jamaica, will go first. And then the senior, the experienced Thelma Davies, will go on the 2nd leg. They've run 42.49 this season. 42.05 is their school record. But they got Baylor in there. Ohio State has run quick this year as well. Baylor 42.66 and Ohio State 43.09.
Baylor's 3rd runner, Alexis Brown, also contesting the long jump today. So this is a nice little warm-up for her. So LSU in 5. The Baylor Bears in the all green in 6, and LSU already out quickly with Brianna Liston on the leadoff. Not a great pass for the Tigers, though.
But a safe one, and Thelma Davies is on her way, and look at her go down the back straight, making up the stagger on 2 lanes outside of her, Ohio State.
Much better pass the second time around. Baylor trying to run themselves back into it. That is your long jumper who has to contest that event later, Alexis Brown. LSU clear of the field, and Baylor 2nd. But Ohio State chasing, as is TCU. It's going to be close for 2nd. LSU wins it. Baylor holds on for 2nd. Very close for 3rd between Ohio State and TCU. It's all going to come down to those running times as to who will advance. The bubble was 43.26, but there were some good teams that were on that bubble, and this will determine who advances to Saturday.
Well, let's take a look around the track here with LSU. This is Brianna Liston. We're going to see her also in the 100 meters and the 200 meters. It looked like she ran out of gas a little bit late in the season at the SEC championships, and I believe she got some good rest coming into these championships. And here is the senior and that experience we talked about in Thelma Davies. We'll see her in the 100 and 200. Nice pass there by Leah Phillips. Here she is in the relay. Runs a nice turn, a lot of experience there. Run a lot of 200s in her career at LSU. And then Tima God Bless all by herself all the way to the line. We'll also see her in the 100 and 200. Mission accomplished for the Lady Tigers here in the final heat of the 4x100 meters.
All right, so let's see who did get through on time. It was Texas, Oregon, and Clemson. They are the lucky time qualifiers into Saturday's final. But Ole Miss, LSU, Arkansas, that is going to be a great showdown on Saturday. The 1,500-meter heats are next. We're back in Eugene, Oregon for our coverage of the NCAA Track and Field Championships. Ladies' Day, the next event. 2 heats of the women's 1,500 meters. No hurdles. Jenny Behringer, now Simpson, the only collegian to ever go under 4 minutes while she was a collegian. And Maya Ramsden is in heat number 2. She has the best time in the country this year. But there is Flomena Asicol, the great senior from Florida.
And an important piece of Florida's team title hopes at the end of the weekend, a 4-time SEC champion and a cross-country All-American. She was the SEC indoor and outdoor champ this year, and she got a really warm reception when she was introduced here at Hayward Field. Claudia Kazmierska, one of 2 ducks in this first heat.
So there are 24 total athletes in each of these events that got here through East and West regionals. 12 in each of these 2 1,500-meter heats, and what they want is a 12-runner final. So in these 2 heats, the first 5 finishers across the line will automatically qualify through to Saturday, and then the next 2 fastest times over the 2 heats that didn't automatically qualify. So you really want to be in the top 5 and expend as little energy as possible in these semifinals.
And there are a number of NCAA title holders in this first heat, led by Lindsey Butler of Virginia Tech. She won the 800 NCAA title indoors 2 years ago. Flomena Asicol up there as well. But the NCAA champs already, Lindsey Butler has a title. Olivia Howell won the indoor mile when she was competing at Illinois. She's now with Texas. And Riley Chamberlain of BYU, who's right there in the back of the pack. She ran the anchor leg on BYU's national championship winning DMR earlier this year, as Flomena Asicol goes up to the front, gets out of trouble, takes over the lead from Lindsey Butler.
66 opening 400 meters, and Flomena Asicol in a familiar position to us as we've seen her compete quite a few times this year. Likes to control things from the front when she can. Claudia Kazmierska in the green and gold of Oregon in there on the rail. Lindsey Butler behind her.
Flo doing a great job of controlling things right up front. She's run a number of 800s, did really sharpen herself up, get her speed underneath her coming into this race. I'd also keep your eyes on Sophie O'Sullivan of Washington. She's kind of in the middle of the pack at this point, but has the far best, personal best of this entire field, having competed at last year's World Championships.
Juliet Cherubit of Texas Tech, the freshman from Kenya, moving into second spot. And Asicol with a little separation there. Let's take a look and see what the half-mile time is, or the 800-meter time, I should say. About 1:08. Excuse me, I should say 2:12. 68-second lap, looking at the wrong stat. So Asicol looking very comfortable up in the front. Again, it's all about being in those top 5 positions out of these 12 runners to make certain you get through automatically to Saturday.
4:088, the fastest qualifying time that we have seen at these national championships. And Flomena Asicol is incredibly consistent in how she runs. She is always up front. She always rises to the occasion on the biggest stage. Seeing some movement behind her. Cherubit of Texas Tech moving up to that front pack, but led by currently Kazmierska of Oregon as they get to the bell.
So that separation remains between Flomena Asicol and Lindsey Butler, who is second. Now Kazmierska making a move to make certain she protects her position. This last 300, we'll see a lot of jostling, a lot of repositioning.
No one more familiar with the backstretch of this track than Claudia Kazmierska. She's made a number of NCAA 1500 meters before, looking to make one here at Hayward Field, and she is on the heels of Flomena Asical to push the pace as they go past the Bowerman Tower.
Asical and Kazmierska, there's room for 3 more to automatically qualify. And that 5th position is really what's the one that's being contested at this point.
There's Shannon Flockhart going into the lead for Providence.
If you're in the top 5, you just need to cruise through, but that 5th position is definitely contested. Shannon Flockhart winning the heat. 4:05.97 in a heat. That has got to be missing the record for the semifinal by 1/100th of a second. An outstanding performance, and we never said her name even to the last 200 meters. So while we have a moment and get everything sorted out, we've got a moment. Let's send it over to Dan for some field event update.
Well, let's get things started in the field event side on the women's hammer throw in this Lance Deal built hammer theater. This is Elizabeth Rudersdottir, the sophomore from Texas State. She comes in as a collegiate leader. She's a national record holder of Iceland. She was second at the Texas Relay. She won the Sun Belt Conference there at Texas State, and she was 7th at the NCAA championships last year. And in the 3rd round, she'd go 231 feet, 2 inches, and really set the pace for everyone. Here's Jelani Davis, no stranger to championships. She was 3rd at the SEC Outdoor Championships. She was your indoor weight throw winner this year. Good shot putter, made the world team last year, but didn't make the shot put final here. Kind of strange, but on her 4th throw, she go 229.2. Put herself in good position to challenge for a win here. And here in the 5th round, this is the senior Tara Simpson-Sullivan from Rice out of Great Britain. In the 5th round, she was your American Conference champion. She was 3rd last year at the NCAA championships, and she bombed one in the 5th round. 229.5, and that would be good enough for 2nd place. But your winner today is the Bobcat from Texas State. Rudersdottir, just a sophomore, collegiate leader, holds true and takes the win today.
So there are field events going on as we cover the running events, and you can watch each one of those, all the jumps and throws on ESPN Plus. Every throw, every jump, keeps you up to date what's going on. Shannon Flockhart, the winner of that first heat, 5th fastest in collegiate history, 2nd fastest in a semifinal at the NCAA championships. You can see through 5th place, those are your automatic qualifiers through to Saturday. Lindsey Butler and Olivia Howell is going to have to wait to see if those times will hold up to advance them. All right, heat number 2. Maya Ramsden, she is the defending champion. And you can see here, fantastic 1500 NCAA outdoor champion last year, NCAA indoor champion this past March. Fastest time in the NCAA this year. It makes her a big favorite.
2-time NCAA champion, and she also competed at the World Indoor Championships. 2nd fastest time in NCAA history, having run that just a few weeks ago at the LA Grand Prix among a field of professionals. And this is just an elite 1500 meter competition. I don't know that we have ever seen more depth in the 1500 at an NCAA championship than what we have between these 2 semifinal heats.
Well, Jenny Behringer, now Simpson, set that collegiate record 15 years ago. She's still the only collegian to go under 4 minutes. But Maya Ramsden definitely scared that with her 4:02.58 just a couple of weeks ago in Los Angeles.
She narrowly missed the Olympic qualifying standard in that performance.
8/100ths of a second. What a heartbreak.
So she is certainly well poised to represent New Zealand at the Paris Olympics. Obviously doesn't yet have that standard, but her credentials incredibly impressive and looking to position herself for a bid to do that. 66 seconds, so the first 400 very similar to what we saw in that first heat, thanks to the lead duties of Kimberly May, who just saw her teammate run that blazing time in Heat 1. They would love to get both Friars into the final, and Kimberly May has been peaking at the absolute right time. Second fastest time in the NCAA this season behind Ramsden. She ran 4:07 flat at the NCAA qualifying meet in Lexington.
So still pretty tightly bunched. Again, you want to be in the top 5 to automatically qualify through, and this tells me that the pace is not going out quite as aggressively as heat number 1, which is going to make the 6th and 7th place finishers in heat number 1 happy.
Also watch North Carolina State's Sam Bush, who is currently on the rail. She is a 3-time cross-country All-American, a member of that Wolfpack team, those 3 Wolfpack cross-country teams that pulled off an incredible 3-peat just last fall. So she is one who knows about championship racing. That's the thing. We can talk about the performances and the times all season long, but when you get here, it's all about competition and who is on their game when the final day arrives.
Well, it turns out they're only a half second off the pace from the first heat, so very possible time qualifiers could be split between the 2 heats.
In talking to Harvard coach Alex Gibby, he said that Maya has really taken advantage of an opportunity to treat herself like a professional. She's able to focus on purely competition right now because all of her academic coursework at Harvard has been wrapped up. Back in April, she actually had to do an oral defense of her thesis on Pacific poetry and climate change. Very casual. As she goes to the bell lap right up front, and she looks so relaxed with Kimberly May in tow, and then that's Maggie Congdon of NAU, who is an NCAA indoor finalist in both the mile and the 800.
They come up with 300 meters to go. 5 athletes have separated themselves from the rest. Those are your automatic qualifiers if the race were to finish now, and I don't see anybody making much of a challenge from behind them.
A surge to a 64-second last 400 meters, so things have quickened up as that front 5 has well separated themselves. And of that front 5, Maya Ramsden running the quickest and looking the most relaxed in doing so. All of that experience, world stage, world indoor championships, NCAAs as well, all coming to fruition as she looks to repeat as the 1,500-meter champion.
It's getting a little dicey for 5th place as they're getting to the line. And she hangs in there, just making it.
Ramsden narrowly missing the entire meet record. 0.2 of a second off Sinclair Johnson's meet record in the semifinal.
But they just 1/100th of a second slower than the winner of the first heat. So that'll tell you how competitive this event is going to be on Saturday. Maya Ramsden winning the heat, 4:06 flat. And there were no time qualifiers from that second heat, so the first heat, 6th and 7th placers will advance.
Ramsden did a great job of controlling this entire race, staying out of trouble, forcing the field to play her game in this. She looked very comfortable all the way through the finish, and then it got a little exciting behind her with the rest of those to advance on to the final. There will be plenty of competition when we get to Saturday.
0.02 of a second off the meet record by Maya Ramsden, 1/100th of a second from Heat 1. Here are your advancers to final, the 12 athletes who will contest this race on Saturday, where it's supposed to be quite a bit warmer, and on Saturday we start a lot earlier. It'll be mid-afternoon here on the West Coast, so the conditions are going to be less than ideal, perhaps, for great middle distance and distance running. But there are your qualifiers, and we are getting ready. Lemon-Golay getting ready for the steeplechase heats, 2 of them, which are coming up when we return to Eugene. Next event on the track, the women's steeplechase. There are the collegiate and meet records set by Courtney Wayment 2 years ago, and Doris Lemon-Golay, who is in this very first heat, is the current leader in the NCAA championships this year.
and ran the second fastest steeple in NCAA history this season, second only to Courtney Wayment, who you mentioned is the collegiate and meet record holder. Courtney Wayment ran that time on this very track 2 years ago. So it's a really nice steepling track. And there is Elise Thorner, who was the runner-up to Doris Lemon-Golay at the SEC Championships. And Elise Thorner, always one to watch. She has been top 5 in this event the last 2 years.
Speaking of top 5, just like the 1,500 meters, the way you advance through these 2 semifinal heats is by finishing the top 5 to automatically qualify through to Saturday's final, and then the next 2 fastest times over the 2 heats. They will bypass the water jump the first time around, as it's an inside water jump. Now the 4 barriers and a water jump per lap to navigate.
These two very familiar with one another. Thorner and Lemon-Golay having gone head-to-head at the SEC Championships, and Thorner doing a great job of getting out and up front. She previously competed at New Mexico, transferred to join the Florida Gators, and indoors she was doing a number of different things. She was running on relays and doing kind of all of those role things to contribute to the team success, and Coach Will Palmer said she's good at all the other things. You can put her in across the distances, but she's best when you put the barriers in front of her. They've also really looked at cleaning some things up over the last few weeks, just technically with her hurdling, and looks really efficient there right now. And Doris Lemon-Golay, so very strong. You have to look back to her freshman campaign at the NCAA indoor meet just back in March. She had top 4 performances in both the 5,000 and the 3,000. And she said to Alabama coach Nick Stenoff, she said, don't hold me back anymore like that, because they wanted her to be more tactical, be more strategic, and lay off of Parker Valby in that race. So now going into the steeplechase, they're letting her loose and letting her run her own race.
By contrast, the men's barriers and water jump are 36 inches high, the women's 30 inches high, but they tend to look higher than that near the end of the race.
As we saw in the men's race, yesterday in qualifying, a couple of the favorites got tripped up over the very final barrier.
And unlike regular hurdles, those barriers do not move if you hit them.
Those top 4 have really separated themselves as they're on 9:30 pace to this point. Thorner, Lemon-Golay have both run sub 9:30s. Elise Thorner really has great awareness and ability to be present with what's going on in the race. So out there and up front, but acutely aware of where the rest of the competition is at this point. Northern Arizona's Carrie Beloga and Arkansas's Laura Taborda up there in the lead pack as well.
So pace is established. 4 athletes sort of breaking away from the pack. So we are going to step aside for a few minutes. And when we return, we will show you the conclusion of this first of 2 semifinal heats in the steeplechase. All right, back to the steeplechase. Heat 1 of 2 with 3 laps remaining. And now it's Doris Lemon-Golay by herself out in front. For much of the race, it was Elise Thorner up in front, but she's still comfortably in that top 4 position. The top 5 automatically advance to Saturday's final.
And a good tactical move for her to really settle in and let the rest of that pack carry her through, as they have separated themselves, those top 4, so commandingly. And the direction to Doris Lemon-Golay from her coach was, with 1K out, just go and trust yourself. That's the point where you want to start to get some separation. Have a plan, have a backup plan, but they liked the idea of being up in Heat 1. He told her going into this, go out, get clear of people, don't worry about making any big moves. If you're going to start separating yourself, do it gradually, and that's really what we have seen her do over the course of those last few laps.
All 4 of the top 4 with excellent water jump technique. You got to keep your momentum going, want to land with just one leg as close to the end of the water as you can. Not really breaking stride. Races have been won and lost right there on that final water jump.
And 3 of those top 4 were all head-to-head at the SEC meet. Those are your top 3 finishers, with Lemon-Golay, Thorner, and Taborda, along with Northern Arizona up there to complete that top 4.
Carrie Beloga of Northern Arizona, just a freshman from New Windsor, New York, just an 18-year-old, winning her conference, the Big Sky Championship, just a few weeks ago.
The strength of Doris Lemon-Golay is the fact she has no fear. Coach Nick Stanoff said she really trusts herself. And in the steeplechase, you can have absolutely no doubt creeping in, right, Dwight?
Correct.
She can really flip into game mode when she needs to. And this bunch of 4, this trio right here behind her, has done a great job of not forcing it. There's really no need to go with her at this point. I'm sure that is what the command has been from those coaches that you see positioned there on the outside of the track as they go over the barrier.
The race, once again, is going to be for the 5th position, it looks, as though that's shaping up as we're just a little more than 1 lap to go. You got Doris Lemon-Golay all by herself with about a 40-meter lead, then a group of 3 that are pretty well clear, but then that 5th spot, that final automatic qualifying spot, is up for grabs. That is Callie Doan of Liberty, who is stalking that 5th position.
Jeanette Schraft of Iowa State. The Big 12 steeplechase champion is Schraft, looking like she's going to be in great position.
6-second lead for Doris Lemon-Golay, who looks very, very comfortable.
And when she ran that really impressive 9:22.31 at Wake Forest, they said she really still left a lot of seconds on the table, even as good as that race was for her. So this is setting up to be a phenomenal final once we get the second field set. Well, we still have to set this field, though, first. Things are getting a little bunched up there behind Lemon-Golay, as that was a little...
That was the shakiest water jump so far.
One yet. Not quite as much finesse as we have seen from Doris on these previous jumps. Thorner, very efficient. She's looking really strong. The fight for 5th begins.
So Doris Lemon-Golay easily handling this first heat, automatically qualifying through to Saturday's final. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are pretty well, and now 5th also very well determined and separated. Laura Taborda of Arkansas keeping their team hopes alive. They're looking for her to score in the final. Jeanette Schraft was in there. Carrie Beloga of Northern Arizona as well. 9:38.69. A nice warm-up for Doris Lemon-Golay.
Here's that last water jump. We talked about that fatigue setting in. Plops just a little bit, slightly uncharacteristic. Don't normally see her, but when you're out there all by herself, tough way to run any distance race, but in particular the steeple, doing as much of the work up front. But smart for her because she does have so much ability to avoid any trouble and just such incredible talent. This is going to be a phenomenal final for the title.
Well, she's one of the few that lands on the same foot that she takes off on the water jump, which is a little bit funky, but she wins it easily by nearly 10 seconds over Laura Taborda of Arkansas. You can see the top 5 automatically qualifying through to tomorrow's final. Places 6 and 7 have to hope that those times will hold up and advance them after heat number 2. So while we have a second, let's take a look at the Capital One Cup standings as teams compete for a combined $500,000 in student-athlete scholarships from Capital One. This encompasses all sports during the collegiate year. You see there that Notre Dame has got a 13-point lead over Michigan, and then the 30 points between them and Clemson and UConn, South Dakota State. On the men's side, Notre Dame, the defending champion. So we'll keep an eye on that as the collegiate season is pretty much winding down. One of the last championships here in Eugene as we get ready for heat number 2 of the steeplechase. Same criterion. The first 5 across the finish line will automatically qualify for Saturday's final. And we were looking at Olivia Markovic as one of our lead runners in this second heat.
She has her teammate Sophie Novak there up front to help her. Novak was the steeplechase champion at the ACC conference meet, and Markovic Mentioned that she is the defending champion. That win last year was the 3rd fastest in meet history. So we're talking about just watching those record books all championship long. And it was such an impressive 2023 for Olivia Markovic. Not only did she win the NCAA steeple title, but she went on to finish 4th in the steeple at the U.S. Championships.
The U.S. Championships are the Olympic trials this year, starting in just a couple of weeks right here in Eugene.
Coach Matt Sparks said he had given the direction to this Irish duo to go out, get there up front. Greta Karina Skaita of Cal Baptist going to go with them as well. Karina Skaita was the runner-up to Markovic in last year's NCAA championships. And the trajectory of Markovic is so impressive. She started her career at Notre Dame as a walk-on, but she's an Irish legacy. Her dad was once the 10K program record holder, so it's a family affair, and her development has been so incredible over the course of her career. Really has this quiet confidence that she brings every time she toes the line. Now Karina Skaita shaking things up a little bit to break up the dominance of the Irish duo, and they seem happy to kind of let her do that work up front.
California Baptist, who she represents, not far from where I live in Orange County. Go by it all the time.
Karina Skaita really announced herself on the NCAA stage last year at the regional meet. She set a personal best of nearly 10 seconds, and at that point was the collegiate leader coming into the championships 1 year ago.
So currently on 9:40 pace, but it's really more the positioning than anything else. You want to be in that top 5 at the finish line to automatically qualify through. But very interested couple of runners from heat number 1 to see if this heat goes faster or slower than heat number 1, because that will determine the time qualifiers.
This is much like we saw Karina Skaita run the final last year. She held the lead until the very final lap, so she's one of those likes to be up front, enjoys that front running position, and you can see just how relaxed Markovic is on her inside shoulder.
Top 3 are set and paced, so we will step aside. When we return, we will show you the last 3 laps of this second heat of the steeplechase. Back to the second semifinal heat of the steeplechase, coming up with just 3 laps to go.
That lead trio have slowed just a bit. They were right around 76s, 77s. It's now dropped to about 78 seconds. They're on 9:46 pace, so significantly slower than what we saw in Heat 1 if you're looking for those time qualifiers. And you can see Novak looking around just a little bit to gauge the positioning and where they have in that chase pack. And when you're watching the positioning of that chase pack, let's see them come through the water jump now. Markovic just looks like she's maybe getting a little bit anxious and maybe eager to try to take the lead. But Taylor Lovell of BYU, part of that incredible steeple program for the Cougars that Diljit Taylor has built.
Only one of the runners have I seen in this heat hurdle the water jump, which I don't think is an advantage. I think it's much better to push off of the barrier and catapult yourself as far as you possibly comfortably can. It seems to be much more efficient. It's such a jolt to actually just hurdle it. We'll see if we can take a look at that when we cut around for the second time, the next time. So we're just under 3 laps remaining now. 9:46 pace, as you mentioned, which is quite a bit slower than heat number 1. So that makes the 6th and 7th finishers in heat number 1 very happy.
Novak and Markovic known to work together. They know how to work together, I should say. Not necessarily in the same event at the NCAA meet, but they were part of the Irish DMR indoors that finished runner-up at the NCAAs in March. Each of those running a leg on that relay for the Irish. There's Taylor Lovell of BYU.
Let me correct myself. 2 laps to go, so now a lap and a half. So this is a good technique for going over the water jump. Push off the barrier, land as close to the end of the water as you possibly can.
Look at it right there.
But we don't see the one that hurdles it. But that's where the race is. Fourth and fifth are definitely up for grabs in that pack of about 5 runners that are 50 meters behind the lead pack.
Katie Clute of Oregon doing a great job executing to this point to take the lead and secure her position ahead of the chase pack right now. And Karina Skaita is not letting her foot off the gas. Markovic is going to go with her, but sit comfortably on her shoulder.
There are legitimately 4 athletes vying for 2 automatic qualifying positions in that group of 4 that are well back of the lead group.
For Markovic and Novak, do no more than what is necessary. Preserve as much as you can to this point going down that back stretch. Look at the efficiency that Markovic is still carrying over those hurdles. Karina Skaita really good technically as well.
FYI, the bubble time is 10:03.
We've probably had 5 different changes among the lead of that chase pack, Dwight.
Yeah, that is where the race is right now, providing they get over the final barrier, which they did, the top 3 easily through. No reason to step on the gas here. It doesn't matter about winning the heat. Now it's just a group of 3 that are vying for the last 2 automatic qualifying spots. This heat is slower than heat number 1, so you don't want to be 6th here. And that's what looks like what happened right at the line, running out of gas. The top 3, Olivia Markovic, Greta Karnaskaita was 2nd, Sophie Novak 3rd. They were clear. Zoe Dundon of Minnesota leaping for the finish line, just running out of gas. Taylor Lovell and Emma Tavello, those are the last 2 automatic qualifiers.
Look at how tight it is here going off that barrier. Both Karina Skaita and Markovic looking really strong, carrying along Novak. And then when you watch the finish, look at this. They're all in conversation. Markovic is going to look over. There is certainly an agreement upon how they were going to use this qualifier and help one another. That's a little bit of the sportsmanship that you're seeing strategically to advance to the final. You'll see no such thing coming up on Saturday. It'll be a much different conversation. And then here it is, that Taylor Lovell of BYU executing incredibly well. Fight between Boston College and Minnesota right there. That is Emma Tavella and Zoe Dundon. Dundon giving absolutely everything, gets a little bit tangled up right there.
So the bad news is that Zoe Dundon was 6th, but the good news is she ran fast enough to get a time qualifier, as the chase pack was much closer to the lead pack in semifinal number 2 than in semifinal number 1. So the time qualifiers do get through in this second semifinal heat. There are your advancers to final, and we're going to go to the straightaway, and we are going to start to see some speedy ladies when we return to Eugene for more of our coverage of the NCAA Track and Field Championships.
Welcome back to Hayward Field. University of Oregon hosting the NCAA Championships for the 17th time. And LSU in position to add to its record total of 14 women's national championships. 22 Tigers, 22 entries qualifying for this meet. And it continues the legacy of people like Dawn Sowell or Kimberlyn Duncan, Lolo Jones, Aaliyah Hobbs, Sha'Carri Richardson. Really, to name 5 LSU sprinters is to leave 20 out. Micaiah Briscoe. See, the names just keep coming. Now, if they're going to win again, you can bet it'll be those fast, fierce sprinters that do it on Dennis Shaver's sprint crew. Won the SEC, a bit of an underdog here right now. As you look at the top 5, Arkansas comes in number 1, indoor champs, 18 entries, not all in the 400. It just seems like that. We told you about LSU, volume, volume, volume. Texas, no Juju Alfred, but still really talented. Oregon's got 14 entries, the home team. Sprinter, shot putter, that's where they need to find big points. And then at number 5 is Florida, and I think we all just trust that Mike Holloway will have his Gators on the podium. So Dan, like, if you need a Western, you go find Clint Eastwood, and if you want to write an opera, you go find an Austrian composer. And then if you need a really good sprinter, you just go to Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Well, you talked to Dennis Shaver, but it's hard to believe the LSU Lady Tigers have not won this title since 2008. But here is a great opportunity in the women's 100-meter hurdles to get things rolling.
There are the records, collegiate and meet. And the collegiate leader, as we have the first of 3 heats in these hurdles. And in heat number 1, Leah Phillips of LSU.
We'll see her in the 400-meter hurdles as well. She doesn't love the 400-meter hurdles, but she says, I'm doing it for the team. But she has been really steady all season long, has run under 13 flat in every one of her races but one. And there is Shania Bellamy, just an absolute warrior at the SEC meet. She does everything the team has asked of her. And she needs to live by what Coach Shaver says all of the time. Coach Dennis Shaver says, hey, here on the qualifying day, just do what you did to get there. If Shania Bellamy can go 12-7, she'll make it through to the finals. But there you see the NCAA indoor champion, Jasmine Jones, lining up here in the 100 hurdles. And Joanna Hayes says that she wasn't able to do the double until the Pac-12 meet. Banged up a little bit with a hamstring issue, but she's managed it really well. But she doubled at the Pac-12. She doubled again in the 100-meter hurdles and the 400-meter hurdles at the regional meet. And she's doing it again here. But also keep your eye just to the outside in lane 5, Maribel Cicero from Washington State. She absolutely blew everybody away at the region meet, running 12. Where is she? 12:49.
Qualifying is first 2 across the line, automatically qualifying, and the next 3 over the 3 semifinal heats, like all the lane races. Jones with a very good start, but a better start by Cicero in the middle of the track. Now here comes Jasmine Jones and Cicero. Cicero still has the lead. And it's going to be Maribel Cicero, the collegiate leader, winning it over Jasmine Jones. And Leah Phillips back there, but maybe a fast enough time to qualify through. 12:53 with a 0.8 meters per second trailing wind, roughly about 2 miles per hour at their back. Jalacia Smith of USC, her teammate, also in that, finishing 3rd.
Well, there you take a look at the start. There you see on the hip 5, Maribel Cicero. These athletes run 2 strides, get their heads up. Good start for Jasmine Jones as well. But Maribel Cicero, she's the first Ecuadorian athlete to ever win a World Youth Championship. And she's coached by Wayne Phipps, the head coach at Washington State University. He is an absolute hurdle guru, and she continues to run well. She broke the Arkansas facility record in the regional meet there. Had good tailwinds, but look how relaxed she is, and look at the LSU Tigers fighting for everything they possibly can to try to get through to the finals.
Well, the 2 LSU hurdlers are on the bubble in that they did not automatically qualify, neither did Jalacia Smith. So unless all the times after this are slower than 12:83, we're going to lose some LSU Tigers, which though they have 22 total entries, they really don't want to lose any. As we get ready now for heat number 2 of 3. So at least now we know that we've got an allowable tailwind in the sprint races. That's always good news, because you hate to see good performances negated by too much wind. And in this second of 3 semifinal heats, we're looking at the middle of the track to Florida senior Grace Stark. 3-time she's the SEC champion, number 2 this year in the NCAAs.
Well, while she doesn't have the fastest time in the country, that belongs to the young lady we just saw, Cicero. But Grace Stark, she's run 3 of the top 4 times this season, and she has won an NCAA indoor champ. She's won all those conference titles, but this is a title that she has not won, the NCAA outdoor title. And while she would love to win this title, she says her focus this season is on the team. Whatever she can do to help this team, and obviously winning here will give her an opportunity to win. And there you see the youngster from Florida State, Alexandra Webster, the ACC hurdle champ. She's coached by Matt Cain, who also coached Trey Cunningham to a couple of NCAA titles. So she's in good hands down there in Tallahassee.
Webster started here in Oregon.
Amelia Chatfield, the senior from Texas, goes on the inside in lane 3, the indoor 60-meter hurdles champ, the Big 12 champion. But Texas in a position as well. If they can get some people through, look at them to be a threat for a team title come Saturday. Amelia Chatfield took advantage of some really big wins at the regional championship and came up with a couple of really big races to qualify here. She needs to keep it going for the Lady Longhorns.
12:88 is the fastest time not to qualify. That's how good the quality of hurdling is at the collegiate level in the United States today. Great Stark with a good start. But Desi Hooven of Arkansas also out well. Now here comes Stark. Stark establishing her dominance right now. Also in late eight, Jaya Covington just goes down. And at the line, it looks like it might have been Michaela DeMello of Washington State that got that second spot. Grace Stark, of course, winning the heat with too much wind, so they had a wind gust, 3.4 meters per second. It will not count as a personal best because of too much wind. About 7 miles per hour worth. It was DeMello of Washington State who got that second spot, just thousandths of a second in front of Alexandra Webster of Florida State.
Well, let's take a look at the start. This is Grace Stark, fourth from the right, the black uniform. You see the 5 on her hip. She is an outstanding starter. Excellent arms coming out of the blocks, and she has a lead literally immediately. And she said her focus coming into the qualifying here was getting down on the ground, reestablishing her sprint mechanics, especially over the last 3 segments. And she did a really good job of that, just no slowing down whatsoever. But such a resilient young athlete. We remember she broke her leg 2 years ago at the SEC Championships and just come back with a vengeance and is just running lights out all season long, but focus all the way through the line.
So Grace Stark and Michaela DeMello, your 2 automatic qualifiers. Alexander Webster just missing out by a few thousandths of a second. We'll have to wait. 12:71 is likely to get through, but the bubble has moved down to 12:77. So under 12:08 you must run in order to qualify for the final here at the NCAA Championships. Final preparations being made for heat number 3 of 3. And in the middle of the track this time in lane 5, it's the Kansas senior from Venezuela, Yovini Mota.
Well, it looks a little different in this uniform. Last time we saw her, she was in an Arkansas uniform, but she's having a really good season. She has competed at the World Championship, so she brings that experience in here. But she ran 12:67 at the Western Regionals, but she's an outstanding technician. And here is Marissa Simpson of UTEP, 2-time Conference USA champion in 60-meter hurdles and the 100 meters. We saw her teammate on the men's side from UTEP yesterday run. But Marissa Simpson here comes in 12:93. She ran that at the Western, 12:75. She ran that at the Western prelims with big wins. And Rania Jones, this is your Big 12 100-meter hurdles champion. University of Central Florida shows up in the Big 12, and Rania Jones just runs roughshod both indoors and outdoors. She also was 5th in the 100 meters, so an outstanding flat sprinter there for the senior for the Black Knights.
No point in trying to make sense of what schools are on what conferences anymore. It is just so tough, especially with the breakup of the Pac-12 that will start next year. Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, making that conference 16 teams strong. The bubble once again 12:77. If you are not in the top 2, got to run faster than 12:77 if you want to get through on time to Saturday's final.
Rania Jones's personal best was set on this track back in 2021, 12:64. She has been to the U.S. Olympic trials in 2021, so she's got a lot of experience running here in Eugene.
Mota with an excellent start. Also a good start for Rania Jones. It's Jones leading at this point. Simpson now making a move down in lane 4. Jones, Simpson, Simpson, Jones. Marissa Simpson, the junior from UTEP and Jamaica. wins the heat in 12:77 with allowable wind 1.1 meter per second. So no time qualifiers out of this third and final heat, as 12:77 was the bubble. So the LSU duo that were 4th and 5th might get through to the final, and a big sigh of relief by Dennis Shaver and those two athletes if they were able to advance to the final.
Let's take a look at this start. There's Eugene Moda on the inside. She looks like she stumbled coming out, but it was Rainea Jones on the outside for Central Florida that throwing me off with the blue colors in there. Not used to seeing Central Florida in those colors. There you see her third from the left. Great start for her, but coming off that first hurdle, she gets twisted just a little bit, but it was the UTEP Marissa Simpson who went down and did not finish. That was Asia Laurentian of Michigan who ran well on the inside. There you see Eugene Moda. Oh gosh, and there you see Marissa Simpson just really get out of sync. But look at Laurentian go for the Michigan Blue on the inside, and she comes away with the heat win. The 3-time Big Ten champ qualifies and gets through.
I was totally focused on the wrong yellow uniform. My apologies to Asia Lorenzen, who won that heat, and the LSU duo did not get through. 12:77 is the fastest, or excuse me, slower than 12:77, the fastest time not to qualify. Amazing group of hurdlers. It's wide open for Saturday in this event. So when we get back, more speed. They remove the hurdles, and we will have 3 heats of the 100 meters. Next event on the track, 3 heats of the women's 100 meters. Sha'Carri Richardson with the collegiate and meet record set in these championships were at Austin, Texas in 2019. Jacia Sears has the collegiate lead, but did not qualify through here with an injury. And in this first heat, we're looking at an athlete from the home school, the senior from Glendale, Arizona, Jaden Mays, the Oregon Duck, who says that she doesn't really feel all that much pressure competing here on her home track.
The pressure, I mean, everybody always talks about Hayward Magic, so I don't really get super nervous or anything like before I run, but obviously, there's a little bit more pressure on me, to kind of go out there and put down some good times or put down good marks since it is my home track. So obviously there is a little bit more pressure, that comes with it. But I'm excited. I think, I always say pressure makes diamonds. So I don't really take it as, anything is, too much. I think it's, it's going to be even more fun since it's here on my home track.
Well, she's probably the most consistent sprinter in the Pac-12 over the last couple of seasons. She wins that 100 and 200 meter title this year. And she comes away with a 100-meter title last year, so she goes back-to-back there in that conference, a really tough conference. Jaden Mays ran outstanding at the regional meet. There's Jocelyn Gardner of BYU, and they do more than just distance run at BYU. Jocelyn Gardner has literally rewritten the record books to every sprint event at BYU, both indoors and outdoors. 60-meter indoor and 200-meter indoors, and 1, 2, and 4x1 outdoor all belong to her.
Same qualification criteria as all lane races. First 2 across the line automatically qualifying through to Saturday's final. Then the next 3 fastest times over the 3 heats. Jaden Mays with a great start. It's Jaden Mays, and this crowd is going to love this. Jaden Mays going to win the heat. Close for second. It's going to be, it looks like Kiana Gray of TCU down in lane number 3 that snuck in for that second spot. 11:04 for Jaden Mays with 1.5 meters per second of wind. That's about 3 miles per hour. It was Leah Bertrand of Ohio State that actually got that in from lane 8. I knew it was close between those two.
Well, look at this great start by Jaden Mays right in the middle of the track. She just continues her winning ways. But John Anderson has got to love this. Her dad, Damon Ways, played football at Mizzou. Mom ran track at Glendale Community College, as we see a head-on But Jaden May, she ran 10:83 at the regional meet, and everybody immediately said, well, if there's going to be anybody that gives Sha'Carri Richardson trouble at the Olympic trials, it's going to be Jaden Mays. And so a rivalry began, and Jaden May said, hey, don't throw me in there. I've never met Sha'Carri Richardson. I don't want to take her title, but I look forward to competing against her this summer.
So very close on that second place automatic qualifying. Jaden Mays out in front by a lot. 11:04 she ran. And Leah Bertrand of Ohio State got it by a 100th of a second. It was Ayana Gray of TCU who ended up getting a personal best, but she ended up third, so has to hope that 11:18 holds up as a time qualifier. While we have a second, let's move over to the women's pole vault in progress.
All right, well, the women's pole vault has just started. We just want to give you your first look at the NCAA indoor champion. This is a freshman from Washington, Hannah Mall, with a big clearance to start things off. She was also your Pac-12 champ. Look at that. Her sister is in the competition as well. Her twin sister, Amanda Mall, who was second at the Pac-12 championships behind her.
Getting ready now for heat number 2 of 3 of the 100 meters. And we're looking in the middle of the track once again. The Texas Tech senior from Nigeria, Rosemary Chukwuma, who has the number 2 time in the NCAAs this year, number 6 time in history.
Well, still, I go back and think about she is the only collegiate to beat Julian Alfred in a couple of years previous. And this girl can run. She's looking to compete in Paris as well. She swept the indoor 60 and the 200, swept the 60 and the 100 meter titles at the Big 12 meets this season. But with the hurdlers for LSU not getting through, now it's even more important that Brianna Liston, the 60 meter indoor NCAA champ, get through here and get the job done for the LSU Lady Tigers.
And this is a stacked heat with the sensational sophomore from Georgia, Kayla Jackson, also in here. All 3 of them under 11 seconds flat this season.
Kayla Jackson, all she does is make finals. You will find her in every major final, all of last season and this season.
And a good start for Brianna Liston. Liston and Jackson. Chukwuma is out of it. It's Liston and Jackson. Brianna Liston's going to win it. And Kayla Jackson just making another final with an automatic qualifier in second place. 0.7 meters per second of wind. Just about 1.5 miles behind them. 10.99 for Brianna Liston in the win, with Kayla Jackson at 11:04.
Well, a great start for a pair of SEC athletes on the outside. There you see Kayla Jackson third from the left. Brianna Liston with a little bit higher set position, but great start. You know you're going to get a great start from Kayla Jackson. She's going to get out on this field, but this is one of the best starts I've seen Brianna Liston go with. But Brianna Liston did not lose an indoor race, and she looks good outdoors. Looked like her stamina throughout the season might have been waning just a little bit towards the end of that SEC championship meet, but she did everything possible to help the Lady Tigers win that SEC title. And Kayla Jackson always there, always close. A lot of second places for that young lady. She's through to the finals easily. Chukwuma just did not look right.
So here are the official results. Liston with the win, Jackson second place, automatically qualifying, and Rosemary Chukwuma well back at 11:16. And the bubble is 11:18. So one more heat to go, and the wind has been gusting. So that might end up being a determining factor as well as we get ready for the third and final heat. There is Mackenzie Long. We'll see her later also in the 200 meters, the senior at Ole Miss. We saw her in the 4x100 meter relay earlier.
Well, she wowed everyone at the regional meet, running 10:80 windy. Just one great race after another, and I haven't seen any drop off for her all season long. She continues to perform at a really high level. We're going to see her in the Olympic trials, both in the 100 meters and the 200 meters. There you see kisses to her mother, and here she goes against the ACC champion Deja DeFrand. back-to-back years. She was the 100, 200 meter. She swept them both, 2022, 2023, and 24, rolling along for the Seminoles. And just a sophomore. Right now, Tima God Bless, she's already qualified for the Olympics in Nigeria. Even more important for her to get through. She had a chance to go down to the Bahamas and help Nigeria get qualified for the Olympics down there in the 4x100 meters. But the African under-20 champ in the 1 and the 200 must be feeling a little bit more pressure to help the LSU squad.
So Long in lane 5, DeFran next to her on her right in lane 6, and then God Bless, the freshman from LSU, who really desperately need to get as many people through as possible after that disappointment in the 100-meter hurdles earlier.
I'll keep an eye on lane 4 as well. Alyssa Colbert of Texas Tech, a junior, is an outstanding starter, and she dipped under 11 flat windy at the regional meet as well.
Long with a good start, as well as DeFran right next to her. It's Mackenzie Long, walks to Tima God Bless. She's right there for second. It's going to be Mackenzie Long, and God Bless does get an automatic qualifier for the Lady Tigers. The freshman produces when Coach Shaver needs her most. 10:91 with 0 wind. That's a personal best for Mackenzie Long, legal. It was God Bless, the LSU freshman, running 11:08 in second.
Well, outstanding start there. Third from the left, that's Tima God Bless. She gets up in nice running position in that first 40 meters. But watch Mackenzie Long. She just turns it over, and she looks so much like Abby Steiner. That short arm swing in front, but man, she has fantastic turnover, and she just pulls away from the field in the last 30 meters. And it's like, ho-hum, 10:91, legal this time. Those races at the West region, at the East region, coming up a little bit windy from time to time, and she just keeps on rolling all the way to the finals, and she'll be the favorite. Everybody will be looking at her on Saturday.
For a little perspective, Julian Alfred, who was all-world last year, ran 10:90 in her semifinal heat. This time, Long does it with 0 wind. So Mackenzie Long with a great night. Saw her in the 4x100 relay. And at the start of that race, she was looking up to her mom, who she lost earlier this year. It's been a tough season for Mackenzie Long, and another semifinal race for her later in the evening when she contests the 200 meters. All right, the next event on the track, the 3 semifinal heats of the women's 400. Britton Wilson, still the collegiate record holder, and Nikisha Price has the best time in the country this year, but 3 Arkansas Razorbacks are entered, including this woman, Amber Anning, who anchored their successful 4x100 meter relay earlier today, the 23-year-old from Brighton, England. The SEC champion both indoor and outdoor 400 meters, as well as the NCAA indoor champion at that distance.
Well, prior to the SEC Outdoor Championships, Amber had not run an open 400 meters. She spent most of the spring just running relays, 4x1s and 4x4s, and she shows up at the SEC meet, and in the finals. She dips under 50 seconds, but that just tells you that she's gearing up for an extended season that's going to take her through the summer.
She's almost certain to be representing her country, Great Britain, in the Olympic Games. So what looked like an intentional false start down in lane 3 by Kentucky Wildcat freshman Onika McAnuff. So while we have a second, let's go back over to the pole vault and Dan O'Brien.
Well, Hannah Mall, the freshman from Washington, got a make on her second bar. This is her twin sister, Amanda Ball. She's got the number 5 mark in the country. She was second at the Pac-12 Outdoor Championship. She lost to her sister, but Amanda Mall, she would be over at 13.7.5. And still quite a few jumpers in the competition. Early going over there.
Officials discussing what's going on. I don't see a card of any color yet. It was a very obvious false start. She came to the set position and ran out immediately. And the card is red. A false start in the disqualifications for Anika McAniff, the freshman from Kentucky and Jamaica. So field of 8 gets reduced to 7.
Well, we were quick on the introductions as well. So Amber Anning goes in lane 6, but keep your eyes out just to her outside, Aaliyah Butler of Georgia. Outside of the Arkansas 3, she is the only other athlete in the country to dip under 50 seconds. She was 4th at the NCAA indoors, but is having a tremendous outdoor season for the Georgia Bulldogs there. Just a sophomore in lane 7, Aaliyah Butler.
And because it's a lane race, the top 2 finishers will automatically qualify to Saturday's final, with the next 3 fastest times outside of those automatic qualifiers. And wind could become an issue, even though the flags are straight down at this point. Amber Anning in 6, Aaliyah Butler in 7. And Anning already making up the stagger on Aaliyah Butler. And she is deceptively fast. She just doesn't have the look of the turnover or someone who's covering the kind of ground that she does, but it's amazing how fast she is.
Well, we saw her anchor that 4x100 meter team of Arkansas early on, and they easily qualified, but there you see her with about 175 meters to go. She really pushed the pace fast, but this is what Chris Johnson wants you to do. He wants you to get out. He wants you to establish. He wants to push the pace, make the rest of the athletes in the field really think and hurt just a little bit. There you see Amber Anning. She was able to back off just a little bit. Now she's cruising.
Isabella Whitaker of Penn on her inside. She's going to get the second automatic qualifying position, but Anning, an easy run for her in 50.67. So she qualifies through easily. Isabella Whitaker at 51.05, the second automatic qualifier. And Anning really went out hard that first 200.
Well, she really did, and then she let up down this last 100. But she made this 400 meter easy on herself. She got it early when she had the energy. And then that last 150, she just goes into cruise mode. But outstanding run for Isabella Whitaker. Just inside of her season best. She ran her season best at the Florida Relays, but look at the relaxation in Amber Anning's face. No stress whatsoever.
So Anning through easily, winning that heat in 50.67. Isabella Whitaker of Penn. The second automatic qualifier was Jermacia Arnold, who had made a nice move off the turn but just ran out of gas. She finished third at 51.42. Unlikely that that will qualify through, but again, wind can become an issue. So we're going to see a lot of Arkansas in this 400 meters qualifying. Once again, Nikisha Price, there she is. She is the collegiate leader, winning that SEC championship in 49.32 about a month ago when we were in Gainesville.
Well, and everybody was looking at Kaylin Brown, who had run the fastest time of the season, and Nikisha Price steps up at the SEC champs and just blows that time away. But look at that. Top 3 times in the country this season, and only Britton Wilson has run faster. We'll see Kaylin Brown in the next heat. But Nikisha Price trying to make herself, stamp herself a spot on that Olympic team, on that Jamaican Olympic team. And Rosie Effiong, another great Arkansas runner. She's yet to run under 50 flat. She's really been concentrating more on her speed this season. Outstanding 100 meter runs for her, outstanding 200 meter runs for her. But she's just outside of the 50 flat mark as well. But there you see her. Great credentials. She was on the World Championship team last year. And it was really fun. John Anderson and I got to hang out with the Arkansas ladies yesterday, or 2 days ago, excuse me, as they did their final workout before these championships got started. Really relaxed atmosphere over there, and Didn't look like anybody was too stressed, but just a lot of different attitudes, and get to see them smiling over there was fun. There you see Michaela Mouton of Houston, the freshman. She's been getting coached by Karan Clement this season. 400-meter Olympic champion, but she is one tough cookie. Every race she seems to run a little bit faster. She runs with no fear.
Clement running those 400-meter hurdles.
That's right.
As an Olympic champion in Rio de Janeiro, even though he did have at one time the world indoor record in the 400 meters flat when he was at Florida. So 4 Arkansas Razorbacks in these 400 meters heats. 4 of the 12 from the West Prelim they qualified through. So it's Mouton in 4. Effiong in 5 and Price in 6. Only 2 automatically qualifying through, so someone has got to hope to get through on a time qualifier. And Mouton is really lagging in this first 150 meters.
Well, I was going to say Rosie Effiong and Nikisha Price went out nice and hard, but so did Mace Varela of Auburn. She decides to take a little bit of a chance and push hard in that first 200 meters, but now here the Razorbacks begin to take over.
Arkansas running that collegiate record 4x400 relay at this West Prelims in Fayetteville just a couple weeks ago. Rachel Joseph is also doing well in lane number 3. But it is going to be Nikisha Price, followed by her teammate Rosie Effiong. Those are your 2 automatic qualifiers, and very close between Mouton and Kimberly Harris of Georgia for that 3rd spot. Of course, that 3rd spot, you have to hope that you've run fast enough. 51.50 for Mouton, who caught up very, very slowly but finished strong. But it was a 1-2 sweep for the Lady Razorbacks.
Well, with 100 meters to go, you just talk about the conditioning of the Arkansas Razorbacks, Lady Razorbacks. Here you go. You see Nikisha Price. She just has another gear. Rosie Effiong, she has another gear. That's what the Razorbacks are able to do. And they say it's we'll hear from Amber Anning here in the finals, but it's a special place, and it's not for the faint of heart. You've got to be one tough cookie to get through the workouts there in Fayetteville.
So 49.87 for Nikisha Price. That is the 3rd fastest run in these championships. Effiong at 50.42 just cruised through into the final. Arkansas could easily sweep this thing. That is how dominant that we have seen them all year long, and a testament to that is their 4x400 relay that set a collegiate record just a couple weeks ago. And one more Arkansas still to go, their 4th and final entry into these championships. And this time it's the freshman, the fabulous freshman, the 19-year-old from from Charlotte, North Carolina, Kaylin Brown, who has run 49.47 this year.
Well, she was the national leader the entire outdoor season until that SEC championships. But you got to think about this, guys. These freshmen today are different, okay? You've got Kaylin Brown. You got Jamisha Ford, Jacoby Tharp, Malachi Snow, Jelani Gordon, Sam Ogazi,
Kayla Jackson.
When was the last time you saw a freshman come into the NCAA
and make an impact like this?
And no question. Just absolutely dominate. This is so amazing. And Kaylin Brown, what a season she's been having. It was funny watching her train. I said, "You ever smile?" And she said, "Oh yeah." And she brightened up, showed me those bright whites. There's Brianna White of Tennessee. She was 4th at the SEC championships. She ran 50.64. Jantaya Jones of USC, the Pac-12 champ. Talking about these Arkansas Razorbacks, a lot of other good people in here. She managed the rounds. Jantaya managed the rounds really, really well at the regional meet. And she'll be out there in lane 8, just outside of Ona Javuevo of LSU. And Ella had a really good SEC meet and a regional meet as well.
Jones of Southern Cal, 3 times the Pac-12 champion. Of course, USC will be in the Big Ten next year. This is a major shift in teams moving to different conferences in 2025, actually in the fall of 2024. And that freshman that we're talking about, Kaylin Brown of Arkansas, has been under 50 seconds 4 times this year. I mean, 50 seconds flat was the holy grail until just a couple of years ago. And the collegiate record holder, by the way, from Arkansas, Britton Wilson. Brianna White of Tennessee in 5, Kaylin Brown of Arkansas in 6, and then Jantasia Jones of Southern Cal, the senior, out there in lane number 8.
Well, there goes Kaylin Brown, just following her coach's instructions to the tee. Get out, push it hard in that first 150. Establish a good rhythm, establish a good pace. Make everybody else now do the work to catch you. She can come through 200 meters. She can evaluate where she's at, and she just wants to find a tempo and a rhythm that she can hold all the way to the finish.
Ella Onojuevo of LSU is responding to that early fast pace, as is Brianna White now. Kaylin Brown, an easy victor here in this third and final heat. It's going to be close for second place. Jones from Southern California trying to get it, but she's not going to get there. It is Onojuevo of LSU and Nigeria, the sophomore. She ends up getting the second automatic spot. 49.82 for Brown, her 5th trip under 50 seconds in her freshman year.
And this is phenomenal. Look, and what I love about what the Arkansas Lady Razorbacks are doing here, you got 100 meters to go, you got a big lead. They could slow down, they could look around, and they could just chill. But when you're in a runner's groove, when you're in a nice rhythm, you might as well hold it all the way to the end. You've got a couple days rest now until the finals, and I love what Nikisha Price did there. Here goes Kaylin Brown, and these Arkansas Razorbacks, they just have that other overdrive gear in the last 100.
Well, the bubble was 51.52 coming in for women under 51 seconds in that third and final heat, breaking the hearts of the athletes behind them. Brianna White ends up getting it at 51.40. That's the final qualifying position, but all for Arkansas with the top 4 times. Don't be surprised on Saturday if they sweep it, and that's a ton of points for the Razorbacks. I believe it's 29 when I do the quick math in my head. 800 meters are next. Next event on the track, 3 heats of the women's 800 meters. Athing Mo, the Olympic champion, world champion, the collegiate record holder. Susie Favor from way back in 1990 set the meet record. That could go here. And Michaela Rose, who we'll see in another heat, is the collegiate leader. That is Gladys Getich, the freshman from Kenya and from Clemson.
And this has been a ridiculously fast year in this event, and it's been an incredible outdoor campaign for Gladys of Clemson. Not only was she the outdoor champion at the ACC meet, she went sub 2 minutes for the first time in her career at the NCAA regional meet just prior to this championship here in Eugene. The Michaela Page, who was the runner-up to Chepngetich at the ACCs.
So this is a lane race, so the same criteria applies like the straightaways, sprints. The first 2 finishers across the line automatically qualifying through to Saturday's final, and the next 3 fastest times will get through if they were not automatic qualifiers.
I would also keep your eyes on Haley Kitching from Penn State. She's not only a 3-time Big Ten champion, sweeping both the indoor and outdoor 800 titles. She won the 600 indoors, and she won the 600 at the Big Ten indoor meet, 4th at the NCAA indoor meet at the 800.
UCLA senior Kate Jendrezek, the early leader, setting the pace with the Chepngetich and Page right there. Chepngetich on the rail. And we'll get a chance to see what the pace is like this first 400. Looking like it's going to be right around 60 seconds. 59.3 to be exact.
And for reference, it took 2:01.5 to make the finals last year at this meet. A lot of movement expected on the backstretch. This is where you have to kind of take advantage and solidify your position.
Seeing the flags have got some wind behind them at this point in time. Chepngetich is now into the lead with Jendrezek happy to stay where she is, but the real running is going to start. Remember, just the first 2 are going to automatically qualify.
Page in great position right now as well, starting to creep up on the shoulder of Jendrezek.
These runners having to go wide to have room to run. Chepngetich has a lot of work to do if she wants to make sure she gets in the top 2. Wow, that is an unexpected result. I have to be honest. Haley Kitching of Penn State wins the heat 2:01.47, with Lauren Tolbert of Duke getting that second automatic qualifying position. And Gladys Chippengedich just lost it over the last 75 meters or so. Comes in at 2:02.45 in 4th place. So she has to wait 2 heats to see what happens. Let's get you caught up on day 2 of the decathlon, the only men's event here during ladies semifinal day.
All right, thanks, Dwight. I was going to say it is the ladies' day, but the men are going in the decathlon first event of day 2. There you see Leo Neugebauer. He set a collegiate first day record, 4,685. And we got a lot of heats of the hurdles. But there you see the sophomore from Miami, Edgar Compre, in section 1. He would run an outstanding hurdle race, win the decathlon hurdles in 13:95. The young man from Portugal. Coach Rob Jarvis of Miami says this guy is doing things for the very first time, had never long jumped, had never really thrown the javelin till he got to the University of Miami this season. Leo Neugebauer, he goes in section 4. There you see him in the middle of the track. He's got a great decathlon going. He's very competitive, but he looked like he ran a little bit conservative, hit the 9th hurdle, and was able to finish in 14:36. Just 3 100ths off of his all-time personal best, and he would take a big lead into the 6th event.
It's got to be so hard for him to get those feet down at 6'7" between those hurdles. It's not an advantage. Well, look at these Heat 1 results. What a surprise we got with Haley Kitching and Lauren Tolbert making it through to the final automatically, with Michaela Page and Gladys Chippengedich favored to get through, and now they got to wait until these heats run and see if they get a time qualifier. Well, this is Miss 800 meters all year long. The collegiate leader, the defending champion, the junior from LSU, 20-year-old Michaela Rose.
Not only does she have the number 2 time in collegiate history, she's also the 2nd fastest American this outdoor season, behind only Nia Akins. She's also run sub 2 minutes 9 times in her collegiate career. Meanwhile, her conference mate, Sanu Jallow of Arkansas, talked about how big of an event the 400 was, so no surprise here. The 800, of course, big for them as well.
It's been our experience that Michaela Rose likes to get out in front and control things from the front, stay out of trouble, have room to run. Let's see if that is the tactic that she employs here as well.
She had such a big 2023. Not only did she win the NCAA title, but she went on to make the final of the U.S. Championships also here at Hayward Field. Certainly has aspirations of putting herself in position to try to make the Olympic team for the United States as well.
The only collegian to run faster than Michaela Rose is Olympic and world champion, American record holder Athing Mu.
Watch out for the duo from Harvard as well. That's Sophia Goriarin and Victoria Bossong.
So Rose taking it out. It appears to be a bit faster than heat number 1. Sanu Jallow right there next to her. 58 seconds flat, so a bit faster. But Rose controlling things, running her race. Sanu Jallow very familiar with the way she runs. They're in the same conference.
As we get to the backstretch, keep your eyes on the all red right there. That is Kelly Ann Beckford, the 2022 Jamaican national champion. She's going to make a run up here for the lead, possibly attach herself to Sanu Jallow to get pulled through the final 200.
Sylvia Chilengat, the sophomore from South Carolina, another SEC runner up there as well. But Rose running like she usually does by herself in the front. The defending champion looking very easy here with 100 meters to go. It's Rose, followed by Jallow, with Sophia Goriarin of Harvard closing to try and grab that second spot, but I think she's going to run out of real estate. But she knows she's in a fast heat because Michaela Rose is leading it. And Rose once again breaking the 2-minute barrier, 1:59.90 for the LSU junior, 2 flat 40 for Sanu Jallow in second, with Goriarin at 2 flat 87, and Rose runs the fastest qualifier in meet history. So while we get the actual finishers sorted out, let's go back over to the women's pole vault.
Well, the women are enjoying some nice tailwinds over there. Let's go back over to the Mall sisters. This is Hannah Mall, her first attempt at 14-1 and a quarter. NCAA indoor champ makes it look easy. Nice big clearance. She'll make maybe a pole adjustment at the next bar. And we go to her sister, Amanda. This is her second attempt at the same bar. 14-1 and a quarter. The last time we had last time we had twins in the pole vault, it was the Weeks sisters from Arkansas. Both finalists scoring points for those Razorbacks. We'll see what the Washington Huskies can do.
Well, midway through that women's pole vault, there's 6 athletes tied for first place, so lots of vaulting left to go. There are your official results. One of the deepest races in meet history at the semifinal level, but Rose and Jalo automatically through. Probably be some time qualifiers from there. Third and final heat, and there is Juliet Whitaker, the sophomore from Laurel, Maryland, representing Stanford. Has run 1:59.04 is her best from 2 years ago. And look at this trio of great 800-meter runners in this meet.
Your 3 most recent 800-meter champions, with Whitaker and Willis being in this same heat. They've done this a number of times before. They can work well together. Obviously saw what Michaela Rose did, but this is setting up to be the toughest final to make so far. Juliet Whitaker, the reigning indoor 800-meter champion earlier this year, number 3 in the NCAA so far this season. And her teammate Roisin Willis was the indoor 800 champion in 2023.
Lane 9, Jolene Nielsen is a scratch from Bradley. She had run 2:99, so certainly capable of getting into the final. Roisin Willis in 5. Juliet Whitaker as they now break for the pole. And it is Willis that looks to be taking up the leading duties at this point.
Juliet Whitaker just saw her sister Bella from Penn advance in the 400 just a few heats ago, so looking to join her sister for a spot in Saturday's final. Willis and Whitaker have gone head-to-head just 4 times in their collegiate career, only once so far this season that they've been in the same heat or the same race. 2-2 against one another, and the duo setting themselves up really well, carrying through 58.7, so the second fastest opening 400 of those 3 heats. Watch out for Gabia Galvadita of Oklahoma State as they get to the backstretch. She is always in the thick of it. She's been top 3 in this event a number of times, really fights her way into the finals. Both Whitaker and Willis running very controlled on the backstretch.
Josephine Eriksson, the junior from Utah and Norway, also in that mix up front of the first 4. Remember, only 2 automatically qualify. Roisin Willis still in there on the rail. Juliet Whitaker right there as well. A very manageable 58.7 first lap. Willis now changing gears. And Whitaker going right with her. On the outside, that's Galvadita from Oklahoma State vying for one of those automatic qualifying spots. And she ends up second to Whitaker, with Willis third. Not in automatic qualifying position, but fast enough certainly to get through on a time qualifier, it would appear. 2:09 for Whitaker. 200ths back is Galvadita of Oklahoma State, with Willis, who I think thought she had it in the bag, at 2:21. Certainly that will be a time qualifier.
Look at the closing speed of Gabia Galvadita, charging all the way out into lane 3. Great awareness by Juliet Whitaker to dive at the finish line and fend her off. Willis maybe a little too far inside to know that she was coming, but both Whitaker and Willis have comfortably run under 2 minutes. So this is certainly in their repertoire to run that type of speed. Bubble time, 2:01:20 is what it turned out to be. 3/10, more than 3/10 of a second faster than what it took to get into the finals last year. Just an indication of how much more competitive and how tough it is to get into this final as Juliet Whitaker celebrates getting that automatic spot. And now we have those three champions, Willis, Whitaker, and Rose, all back in it for Saturday.
You had to get under 2:01 just to make the final. That would have been a winning time by a lot 5 years ago. So the 800s are in the books. And we got the 400-meter hurdle heats coming up next when we return to Eugene. All right, the hurdles are up on the track for the first of three heats of the women's 400 hurdles. Collegiate record Sydney McLaughlin, the Olympic champion and world record holder, as well as world champion Corey Carter, setting that meet record more than 10 years ago. And Jasmine Jones, who we saw on the hurdles, the short hurdles earlier, has the best time in the country. But the woman who has the second best time in the country is in this heat. High jumper, 400-meter hurdler Rachel Glenn, the junior from Arkansas, transferred from South Carolina. And she had a great race going in Gainesville, Florida at the SEC Championships about a month ago, just cruising along in the final. Well clear and just hits the 10th hurdle and goes down. Down goes Glenn. And she did not get back up. She since run her personal best at the West prelims on her home track in Fayetteville, Arkansas. She ran 53.94. And here she is in the first of three heats of the hurdles here in Eugene, and she will start out in lane number 6.
Well, Rachel Glenn just showed that she is human, but this is a young lady that took advantage of Rachel Glenn falling, and she would come away with the title, just a sophomore. I'll tell you, it didn't matter if Rachel Glenn was down or not. Gabby Matthews celebrated that victory wholeheartedly, but here we get to see that same SEC matchup. And the young lady just on the inside, Tyra Wilson of Florida State, the junior. She's run 55.68 this season, so not far from Gabby Matthews, 55.12. as she ran at the SEC Championships.
And I will tell you, it will not be an advantage for Rachel Glenn on Saturday should she qualify in these hurdles. The high jump is contested on Saturday as well, and running the 400 hurdles is not particularly good warm-up for the high jump. Not that I would know, because you would never catch me running this race. I think it's the toughest event in the sport. So it's Glenn in 6, Gabrielle Matthews inside her in 5, who won the SEC title when Glenn fell. Tyra Wilson of Florida State also going well in lane number 4 for the Seminoles.
Well, indoor Rachel Glenn had one of the fastest times for the Lady Razorbacks, and she's run some fantastic 4x4 legs as well. But she is just an outstanding athlete and such an interesting combination, high jump and the 400-meter hurdles.
Yeah, easiest event in the sport to train for, toughest event in the sport to train for. She's through 8 nicely with about as much a lead as she had on Gabby Matthews in Gainesville a month ago. Now here comes that dreaded 10th hurdle. There she goes. She gets it. And it's Matthews who trips over the 10th hurdle, but she has such a lead in second place, she will automatically qualify. 53.81, that's a lifetime best for Rachel Glenn, and the fastest qualifier in meet history, and takes over the NCAA lead in 2024, corrected to 53.80 for Rachel Glenn. So no doubt about that, though I was not that impressed with the way she got over the 10th hurdle. It was still close. So Rachel Glenn threw easily along with Gabby Matthews as we get caught up on the next event of day 2 in the decathlon, the discus.
All right, back to Leo Neugebauer watch here in the discus, one of his best events. He threw a tremendous shot put yesterday, and here he goes on a first attempt in the discus. He's qualified in the open discus, but look at this bomb. Oh my gosh, that last line is 50 meters, 164 feet, and he absolutely shatters that on his first attempt. He goes 189 feet, 4 inches. He scores over 1,000 points, 1,032 points, and it's the collegiate decathlon discus record, and it's the world decathlon discus record, and that put him way up, 170 points up on his championship record, on his collegiate record, excuse me. But battling in second and third place, this is Peyton Bear, the sophomore from Mississippi State. His first attempt was not very good, 119 feet 8 inches, and he would not throw any farther than that, in jeopardy now of giving up that second place position. And this is a sophomore, Campere from Miami, trying to make a move on second place. Better discus certainly than Peyton Bear on his second attempt. He would get a pretty good one out there, 146 feet 5 inches, but so new to these events. But Leo Neugebauer is up to something special in the men's decathlon.
Olympic champion Brian Clay displaced as the world discus champion in the decathlon. Rachel Glenn at 53.80, the number 5 time in history, and a personal best, and the number 5 in the world this year. And she displaces Jasmine Jones as the collegiate leader. Gabrielle Matthews getting into that second spot for an automatic qualifier. And then here is Jasmine Jones. He's in the second of these 3 heats. And she talked to us the other day about running both the short and long hurdle events.
I think having 100 hurdled for most of my life and just now adding 400 hurdles for really the first time this year, it's a bit of a change. It's a bit of a challenge that I really enjoy though, because it kind of gives a chance to step away from that aggressive sprinter attitude of just okay, 100% all out from the jump, and kind of get a chance to think about my race a little bit more of focusing on or noticing people around me, kind of hearing the crowd, feeling that energy. And it's I think it's fun just to have a little bit more time to enjoy the moment.
Well, I'm not sure I would describe the 400 meters as fun, 400 meter hurdles as fun.
Or something to enjoy.
But she's an outstanding all-around athlete, Dwight, and she is also a 20-foot long jumper, believe it or not. So just jumping is certainly in her. And we take a look at lane 7, just to the outside of Jasmine Jones, Shania Bellamy. Runner-up in the 100-meter hurdles at the SEC Championships. We saw her in the 100-meter hurdles, and she and her teammate Leah Phillips did not get through. But she's coming off a fantastic SEC and regional championship. And here's Shauna Gribo, the French 400-meter hurdles champion. And this season 6th in the 400-meter hurdles at the Pac-12 Championships, and part of that 4x400-meter winning squad there.
So Jasmine Jones in lane 6 was the collegiate leader until about 3 minutes ago, when Rachel Glenn ran that 53.80, the number 5 time in the world this year. So let's see what she has in store. She's qualified through in the 100 hurdles earlier. Jones in 6, Bellamy in 7, Gribo in 8. And Jones out quickly, first over the first hurdle.
And being an outstanding 100-meter hurdler will give you an advantage. The 100-meter hurdlers give them an advantage, just be able to negotiate these low hurdles that much easier. There you see Jasmine Jones. She's just staying with a right leg. Looks like she's on a 15 stride there down the back straight. Her right leg is her preferred leg, but very under control. Runs a little bit different style of a race than Rachel Glenn. You see her with about 125 meters to go. Now she begins to open things up.
And she'll get the tailwind. There was quite a headwind they're running into down the backstrip as Jasmine Jones has just blown this one open like Rachel Glenn did. Is she reacting to Rachel Glenn's time? We'll be able to see in a moment. Shania Bellamy is in second, but here comes Gribo with the help from the crowd. And Gribo's going to get that second automatic qualifying spot. Bellamy third, 54.20 for Jasmine Jones, so close to her lifetime best at 53.87 when she ran at the conference championships last month, but easily through into the final. That should be a heck of a matchup between Jones and Glenn on Saturday.
And a huge personal best for Shauna Gribo. She decimates her personal best by almost a half a second, so good running out there for the Oregon Duck. But it's interesting, Jasmine Jones, she didn't have much of a fall training season. because she was still dealing with that injury from last year, and it wasn't until the Pac-12 championship meet that she doubled in both the 100-meter hurdles and the 400-meter hurdles, and she's managing it very, very well in these championship meets.
I'm willing to say that she had more of a headwind on the backstretch in her race than Rachel Glenn did in hers, but they'll be in the same race on Saturday. She automatically qualifies by winning the heat. Shanna Grabo of Oregon gets through as well on an automatic qualifier. Shania Bellamy at 56.25. The bubble is 56.54, so she's got to sweat out one more heat and hope that her time will catapult her into Saturday's final. As we get ready now for the third and final heat of these 400 hurdles, and this heat featuring in lane 6 the junior from Michigan and Canada, Savannah Sutherland. She is the defending champion in this event.
So just prior to walking into the stadium today, I saw a lady out on the turnstile there with a Canada shirt on, and I said, "Who are you here to watch?" And she said, "I'm just here to support my Canadians." There's 24 of them competing in these championships. I was like, wow, she knows it. But Savannah Sutherland is having a fantastic outdoor season. She's ranked in the top 10 in the world. She has the Olympic standard. She's the top Canadian in this event. She will just have to show a level of fitness, and she'll be on her way to Paris representing Canada. But she just really took that 400-meter hurdle championship in stride last season and just used the momentum and brought it right into this season. There's Akala Garrett, just a freshman on the outside, just a freshman. We talk about just how fantastic. Number 13 in the world, number 4 on the U.S. list. Already she has the Olympic qualifying standard as well. But she is a fast starter, and she's going to be outside of Savannah Sutherland. And there's Sydney Townsend from Houston. This lady, just a senior. She's a senior this season, and she's talking to her coaches, and Karan Clement says she does everything that she needs to do to be successful on the track. She's great in the classroom. She's great with her diet. She's great with her recovery, and she's seeing those results on the track. She's run 55 flat, and she said, "I do not want to finish my collegiate career with a 55-second personal best. I've got to go under 55 seconds at these championships."
There are the lane assignments with Townsend in 5, Sutherland in 6, and Garrett in 7. The bubble 56.54, and the flags are straight down on their flag poles, so that is likely to be helpful.
Look for Garrett in lane 7 to really push hard in this first couple of hurdles.
So it was actually Townsend over the first hurdle first. She has the advantage of Sutherland and Garrett being to her outside.
That's Abby Glenn from Colorado. She went out really hard, and here comes Savannah Sutherland.
Sutherland and Townsend neck and neck as they go into the far turn.
Akala Garrett, the freshman from Texas, she's got some work to do.
Garrett's got to have a strong finish over these last 3 barriers. It is Sutherland in the lead, the defending champion, first off the 8th hurdle and the 9th. Now here comes Garrett, overhauling Townsend, who maybe went out faster than she could really handle. It is Sutherland and Garrett. Those are going to be your automatic qualifiers in heat number 3, with Townsend a distance 3rd. 54.05 for Sutherland. That is a lifetime best for her, now corrected to 54.04. And she ran that time in her victory last year in Austin. Also a lifetime best for Garrett.
Well, Savannah Sutherland, she does a wonderful job. Look at her, measure her steps, check her strides, and then she really does a good job of accelerating into the hurdle. Those 2 strides prior to, she was able to create a little bit of separation to Akala Garrett, but a big personal best for the both of them, and a huge personal best for Akala Garrett there by more than a half a second.
So there are your qualifiers through. Akela Garrett with the number 3 under 20 time ever at 54.44, her lifetime best. It's going to be a great matchup between Glenn, Jones, and Sutherland. Rachel Glenn getting it done, getting over that 10 hurdle, high jump and hurdles on Saturday. All right, the next event on the track, 3 heats of the women's 200 meters. Abby Steiner is the collegiate and meet record holder, and Mackenzie Long has the best time in the country this year at 22:03, one of the fastest times in the world. She is in a later heat as we take a look at Jaden Mays. She was in the 100 earlier, qualifying. Now here in the 200 trying to do the same.
Well, last year at these championships, she missed the finals by 1 place. And so she does not want that to happen again. But she, like I said, she's the most consistent sprinter in the Pac-12. Followed her uncle Muhammad Oliver, was a decathlete here at the University of Oregon, and he coached her in high school, and he got her up here to the University of Oregon. There you see Kayla Jackson just to her outside, always in the mix, good starter here. She is not disappointed. Kayla Jackson, one of the top recruits in the country 2 years ago, has just done it all from a sprinting standpoint for the University of Georgia. Adriana Tatum of Arizona State, inside of those two, has run 22:46, but Jaden Mays 22:42. Kayla Jackson has gone 22:28 this season.
So Tatum in 5, Mays in 6, Jackson in 7. Very even at the start. Mays is now starting to make some moves through that turn. Mays running an excellent turn, but so is Kayla Jackson. They come off the turn together. Mays and Jackson with Jayla Jamison of South Carolina trying to make a run at Jackson. It's going to be Mays and Jamison getting that second automatic qualifier. Kayla Jackson ending up 3rd. But you got to note that was a fast heat. 22:27 winner with a 1.1 meter per second, so about 2.5 miles an hour of wind at her back. And that's a lifetime best for Jaden Mays.
Well, Jaden Mays benefited by Kayla Jackson being to her outside. Kayla Jackson is a fast starter. She's always going to get out fast. She runs the turn incredibly well, and Jaden Mays just held her own there. But as they come off the straight, Jaden Mays stands up, continues to turn over. Look at the turnover all the way to the finish. Kayla Jackson ran well like she always does, but Jayla Jamison used those long strides to get in the mix there as well. But outstanding run by Jaden Mays. Personal best, 22:27.
That's number 8 time in the world this year, with Kayla Jackson with a good time in her 3rd place position. That probably should qualify through, but LSU, another disappointment, and Ania Bigham getting 8th. And Thelma Davies, that's the bubble, and with 2 heats remaining. Let's get back over to the decathlon pole vault.
Well, with a giant discus, Leo Neugebauer has sent notice to the world that a world record was on watch here as he went into the 8th event, the pole vault. This is his first attempt at 17.1, and he would go over big. Look at the hip height. Dwight, he is on gigantic poles. These are 5-meter 20 poles, so 17 feet plus poles.
Those are logs.
11 flex. That's bigger than Mondo Duplantis. And he is over, and believe it or not, on the next height, he would crush his pole. I think he needs bigger ones, but just absolutely in a groove, and people began to talk. World record, 9,000 points. The bar would go up to 17 feet, 5 inches. He's only on a 12-stride approach. Talked to his coach, Jim Garnham, and he said, hey, 12 strides is all we need. But Leo Neugebauer is putting himself in a position to win the Olympic gold medal. He would not get a make there, and he would finish the competition, but he said, today I ate a lot more. He was talking about snacks. We were talking about what he was going to eat here between the pole vault and the javelin. Hey, but when world records get talking about, I got to get in there. Maybe, I'll give him a piece of advice, help him get over the hump. But
did you give him a sandwich is what we need to know.
After 8 events, though, guys, the highest score ever after 8 events. World record watch for Leo Neugebauer.
Second heat of the 200. There's Jamisha Ford, the fabulous freshman from South Carolina, just 19 years of age. Number 2 time in the country amongst collegians this year.
On the Bowerman watch list. She's been on the Bowerman watch list since the second release. She wasn't on it at the beginning because she'd only run some 300 meters, but man, she is somebody to keep an eye on. Young, exciting freshman, has gone 22:11, only 19 years old.
She'll be in lane 6. Dejanay Oakley of Texas, a sophomore from Jamaica, just outside her in 7, and Denisha Page of Tennessee, the senior, out there in lane 8. Tima God Bless there on the outside in lane 9. She qualified through in the 100. LSU really needs to get some qualifiers. Having a tough day.
Well, here goes Jamisha Ford, and a fast start. She runs the turn beautifully.
It's Ford with Page second, and God Bless trying to make it in out in lane 9. It's going to be Jamisha Ford win it. It's going to be Page finishing second, and God Bless third. 1.2 meters of second under the allowable, about 2.5 miles per hour of wind. 22:14 for Jamisha Ford. That is just over her lifetime best of 22:11. Page at 22:44, also just over her lifetime best, with Tima God Bless getting third with a time fast enough that it should qualify.
Well, and just look how comfortable she is on this turn. She just flies by Dejanay Oakley, and then she gets to the straightaway, and all she has to do is concentrate on turning her strides over. Shorten the distance between your thigh and your rib cage. Just get them over. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Just think rhythm, rhythm, rhythm. But she has been having a fantastic season, been healthy all year long.
So Jamisha Ford through easily with Denisha Page of Tennessee. Those are the 2 automatic qualifiers, and with 1 heat remaining, Tima God Bless of LSU has to hope that time holds up. The bubble is 22:73. Heat number 3, featuring Mackenzie Long, the defending champion, and she has had a tough year, losing her mother earlier in the season. Has had to completely rethink what track and field means to her and how she prepares properly for it and how her performances can honor her late mother.
This season has been a lot of self-journey, a lot of self-isolation, focusing on myself, keying in on myself and what works for me and what doesn't work for me, especially that I don't have my mom in this moment, and this journey of like transitioning and like, you know, I'm going pro after this. So I want to say just like zoning in on that and believing that my mom is here, you know, just having her here, feeling her, talking to her before every race. That's what I do now. I go to the bleachers, I sit in the bleachers by myself, and I just talk to her. I talk to her and I talk to God, and I just trust that she's here with me and she sees everything that's going to happen before it even unfolds. So that's really what I key into.
It has been a rough year for Mackenzie Long, but I'll tell you what, she has handled it with grace. She has just come through time and time again this season, and she's just taken them one at a time. Her goal was to just get on the podium, top 3 at the SEC meet. She was able to do that. And then she came to the NCAA championships, just getting the top 3. But man, she has come out to this outdoor season and just absolutely taken over. She is absolutely in the zone, and this, I believe, is her better race. She's a fantastic 100-meter runner, but she is an outstanding 200-meter runner, world leader, collegiate leader, number 5 in collegiate history. There you see her in lane 6. Deja DeFran of Florida State on the inside. Jasani Carter just to the outside. Mackenzie Long has run 22:03 this season. If she can dip under 22 at the Olympic trials, she'll shake some pros up.
Correction, she is not the defending champion. It was Julian Alfred, of course, winning the double last year, but she's going for it now. She's twice the SEC champion, and she is dominating this first turn, or the only turn. She comes off in first by a long way and lifting and accelerating up the straightaway. Jasani Carter of Southern Cal is there for second, but Mackenzie Long making a statement. 21.96. The wind is allowable, corrected to 21.95. So she improves on her best time in the world this year with an almost windless 21.95. Jasani Carter well back at 22.46. And DeFran at 22.71 in third. That was a statement run by Mackenzie Long. Number 2 in meet history. Only Abby Steiner has run faster.
Well, she went 21.88 windy this season, and this run tonight was absolutely legal. Just look how she executes this. She really gets out hard in that first 50 meters. And the 200 meters is all about race execution. Get out hard, establish yourself. Get your tempo up. And that 200 meter, first 100 should be like you're pushing to run up a hill. You come over the hill at the 100 meter mark and then stand up tall and just turn it over to the line. No slow down whatsoever. And a lot of times we see people just not able to hold their tempo. Her conditioning is fantastic. Her speed is great right now. Just so inspiring to see her running well this time of the season.
Fastest time in the world this year, and we're into June. Lots of countries having trials and getting ready for the Olympic Games, and you could almost bet that she is looking to be on that U.S. team. There are your qualifiers. It took 22.71 to get through to the final, but what Mackenzie Long might do with a little wind in her sails on Saturday. So when we come back, it is the 10th and final event of the decathlon, the 1,500 meters. And Leo Neugebauer, what might he be able to score? We'll bring it to you next. All right, let's show you how we got to this final event. The 9th event, the javelin throw.
Well, I think Leo got a sandwich in him here before the javelin. This is his first throw. Everybody's talking world record. He needs to throw out around the 60-meter mark. He's never done that before. But his first attempt, shortened run. There you see miles of space there. The longest line there is 60 meters. And he moved his step up after this one, but this would be the longest throw of the day for him. And it would be 185 feet for 687 points. He comes up short of that 60-meter mark. Probably takes him out a world record pace, but it still puts him on 9,000 point pace, 185.10. But his total score after 9 events, 83.09. And Dwight, listen to this. With 9 events, he would have won the NCAA championship just with 9 events in every NCAA championship since 2000.
It's amazing. And he has ways to improve in the javelin and in the high jump and in the 400. I mean, it's not like he's capped out yet. It's unbelievable. He has a 851-point lead going into this final event, the 1,500 meters. And the conditions, of course, are cooler than they were when we started this evening, but still not necessarily ideal. And it is the 10th event of the 2 days for him. But it's a matter of what does he want to do? Does he have any ambition to really go after it? Let's tell you what he's got to do. If he wants to score 9,000 points, he needs to run 4:38.38. Certainly within his capability, but does he want to do it? For 8,900 points, 4:54.72. And if he just wants to break his own collegiate record of 8,836 points, he just needs to run 5:05.67. I'm betting on something in that 89.25 area personally.
Well, that would surpass my score. I would move down to 8th all-time. He would move up to probably 6th all-time. But I'd love to see him score 9,000 points. Just think about that as an NCAA record, 9,000 points. But talking to Jim Garnham, I said, what are you guys going to do? And he said, we're going to go for it. Man, we are here to score big. You don't squander an opportunity when you have an opportunity to score really big. But what Leo Neugebauer has done in this competition, he's sending notice. Look out, Pierce LePage. Look out, Kevin Mayer. Look out anybody else in the world who thinks they're going to get a medal at the Olympic Games.
All right, so that's the Leo Neugebauer story, but there is a team story going on here, and Arkansas is always a big event for them, and they are right in the hunt for some decent point totals if things go well in this 1,500.
All right, the leader there on that first lap goes 68. Leo 73.5, so that he's in that 440 range. But there we see the leader. but that's Yario Soto Tirado of Arkansas. He sits in 10th place right now. He is an outstanding 1,500-meter runner. He needs to move up. He needs to move up at less than 100 points to get into 8th position to score some points. Jack Turner, the other Arkansas athlete, there's Jack with the shades on, the Brit there for Arkansas. He's in 5th place. He's a good 1,500-meter runner as well. So Arkansas, again, in the multi-events, has an opportunity to score good points.
And more importantly, how they do is really on them. They've got to go for and try to match or exceed their personal bests, and that will move them up significantly on the leaderboard, especially Soto Tirado.
So this is interesting. There's a lot of guys out there on the track, and normally you don't run with this many guys on the track, and Leo is with a pack there towards the end. And if this pack wants to help him at all, they've got to pick it up just a little bit. The guys up front are running pretty well. There you see Tirado in second. Jack Turner now moving up from 6th or 7th place into 6th position. It looks like he's going to make a run at the leaders as well with just over a lap and a half left to go.
2:10 at the half for Leo. No, that's 2:20, not 2:10. 2:20. So if he splits that in half, he's got what he needs to be just under 9,000 points. 2:30, I should say. So I think my estimate is looking pretty good, actually.
Okay, now you see Leo Neugebauer coming to focus. He's ahead of that final pack. It looks like he's got to get his chin down a little bit, but it looks like he's making a little bit of a move. He's making an effort to pick that pace up as Yario Soto Tirado and Jack Turner make a run for the front here.
Arkansas there 3rd and 4th as Yario Soto Tirado now making a bit of a move. He has run 4:27, and Jack Turner has run 4:30. So they can race themselves up the leaderboard and help out their Razorback team.
And that's O'Connor from UConn out front. He and Yario Soto Tirado are battling it out. Tirado did not have the best meet, but he's still in the hunt to go to the European Championships. As we get to 100 meters to go, this is going to be a great kick to the finish for those two up front. And Jack Turner in 3rd. He's going to solidify himself in this 1,500 meters in 3rd place. Tirado's going to come away with an event victory.
That's Scott Boone of Houston, from UConn.
Tirado goes under 4:30. Jack Turner as well. But keep a look at the back of the pack. Here we go, 4:37. Leo Neugebauer is going to come through in under 4:45. And we'll see what his score is.
Well, it's a collegiate record for sure because they only had to run 5:05 for that. Needed to run 4:54 for 8,900. So I'm liking my 89.25 prediction a whole lot.
Woo. A good competition for Raphael Rapp. Aiden Ouimet from Illinois had a good 1,500 meters here. Lucas Van Claveren, Michael May of Auburn. Peyton Bear finished up from Mississippi State.
Diarmuid O'Connor of UConn. Sorry for missing out on his name. He was second in that 1,500. 8,960 points is the new collegiate record for Leo Neugebauer. So I was off by 35 points low, and he just missed scoring 9,000 by 40 points, and he really gave it his all.
89.61. So we'll give him an extra point there, but what an effort by that guy. It's going to be great to hear from another collegiate record. 2 years in a row he breaks collegiate record. Aiden Owens-Delerme got things going a couple years ago when he broke the collegiate record at the Mount Sac Relays. Kyle Garland then breaks the collegiate record at the U.S. Championships going into the World Championships in 2022, and then Leo Neugebauer steps onto the stage and breaks the collegiate record 2 years in a row, and it has not been an easy path for Leo Neugebauer. He showed up at Texas, had big hopes, big dreams. He was going to be on that Tokyo Olympic squad, and he didn't make it. He really struggled a little bit. He got himself together, settled in there in Austin, Texas. As you see, his coach, Jim Garnham, give him a hug. These two have been together all the way. They will be together through the Olympic Games. They've got a plan on going over to Europe in right about July 12th, 13th. Go to training camp, get him ready for the Paris Olympics when the track and field portion starts the first part of August. But man, just this guy is on another level. He's an incredible athlete, and he's an incredible young man.
That's the 6th highest score in history, and knocks down just another couple of rungs. Still in the top 10, Big Dano. All right, well, from one great athlete, without question a potential Olympic champion, to another exceptional athlete about ready to run on this track in the final of the 10,000 meters. And Parker Valby wins the race. That breaks the meet record.
Would you expect anything less than that when Parker Valby steps on the track?
The 10,000 meters, collegiate record holder Parker Valby of Florida. She is, of course, in this race. Sharon Lokedi is the meet record. That's almost certain to go. And the collegiate leader, of course, for the collegiate record is Parker Valby. There she is. She's starting in the number 7 position, just a junior at Florida.
4-time NCAA champion going back to last year's outdoor meet in which she won the 5,000. She went on to go undefeated during the cross-country season, winning the NCAA title there, and then winning both the 3K and the 5K at the indoor championships. And enjoying the welcome here at Hayward Field. Probably also communicating with her teammate right now, Claire Bryant, who is on the long jump right now. She's just inside of her, so certainly getting that reception here as we will see what Parker Valby does. You mentioned what the meet record is, the time that Parker ran in that 10K debut this season, her very first ever 10,000 meters that set the collegiate record about 79 seconds faster than what that meet record is. And here is the top returner in this field, Hilda Olmomoy of Alabama, 5th in this event last year.
So checking the current weather conditions, it's 72 degrees here in Eugene. The entire track, save for a couple of little slivers of light, is in the shade, which is helpful. 24 athletes in this field, 12 that got here from the East Prelim or the East Regional, I should say, in Lexington, Kentucky, and 12 from the West Regional, which is held in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Same situation, the 5,000 in 2 days. It will be only a final.
In this field, 3 from Oklahoma State, 2 from Arkansas, 3 from NC State, or 2 from NC State, excuse me. And this is not used to what we are seeing. Usually Parker Valby usually bolts directly up to the front, but being much more tactical. That is something that she has learned progressively over the course of this outdoor season. When she ran at the regional, she really was conservative early on, kind of jogged it in her words. She said she's still learning to get comfortable latching on to someone. When she ran the 10K, it was set up really well for her. When she ran that 30-50 at Brian Clay, had some pacers up front, and often what they do, Dwight, is it's not necessarily to set the pace fast, it's to slow her down, because she often negative splits in these type of situations. The first ever collegian to go sub 31, and she is the 2nd fastest performance by an American woman this year, behind only Winnie Colati, who won a 10K title when she was competing for New Mexico. So you talk about, of course, the conversation with the Olympic trials coming up here in a few weeks. Parker Valby looking to solidify her position among those in the conversation.
But what you have to worry about when you've got a pack of 24 that goes out in 84 seconds is they're so bunched up, and you've got to have some place to put your feet down and pick them back up again. and you worry about collisions and injuries and all that type of stuff, a little bit of which we saw last night in the men's 10K, albeit later in the race and because of a mistake by one of those athletes. Now they're starting to stretch it out a little bit, looks a little bit more normal, and Parker Valby can decide when she wants to actually make a move. There goes Helen Eldemomoy, and that's probably going to signal Parker that it's time to start moving up a bit.
That's Taylor Rowe up front. She always puts herself right there in the thick of it. She was the indoor champion 2 years ago, the NCAA, but best finish outdoors third. Taylor Rowe was runner-up to Parker Valby during the indoor season in the 5K.
Just a little more than 2 laps going, and looks like our new collegiate record holder, actually not even new because he already was, but Leo Neugebauer is now downstairs with John, somewhat recovered from that 1,500 meters, I hope.
Yeah, thank you, Dwight. Somewhat recovered, but we're still sitting down. By the way, look, the latest in fashion, Leo the German shirts. Is this available in stores, Amazon? How do I get this?
You just get that if you know me,
okay,
and if you're a good person, just like you, man.
That's it. Thank you. I appreciate that. 89.61. That's a crazy number. What does it mean to you, 89.61 in your last collegiate deck?
Man, it's unbelievable. I can't even describe doing that here at this meet. Having so much fun, being also my last decathlon here in college. I can't put my thoughts into words right now.
Okay, can you put your thoughts in a word of like, I was so close to 9,000?
It was cool playing with that idea. It wasn't supposed to happen today. I really tried. I passed people. That's the first time ever that passed anyone to 15. So I tried. It wasn't enough, but there's other events where I can definitely get the points.
I want to talk about sort of your growth as an athlete in your time at Texas. Your first deck, 76.21, and now you're nearly 9,000. What has this 4 years been like to go from that number to the number you put up today?
It's been a crazy way, just like my progression. It's been like a slow process. Especially in the last 2 years, I really put in a lot of work, literally every single day, because all the championships and everything is just rented, you know what I mean? You have to earn it every single day, and that's what I did.
Yesterday you were a little worried you didn't eat enough. What went into the body today? Take me through.
Oh my God, I ate a lot, minimum double of what I ate yesterday.
Right?
Yeah.
Any Uncrustables? Because like Lara's up there and she can house like 8 of those.
Not Uncrustables, but a lot of granola bars and sandwiches.
Finally, you got a couple of months to get ready for Paris. Your thoughts early here on the Olympic Games?
I feel great. We'll go back to work in like a week or two, so I'm excited.
It's been a great 4 years. A pleasure watching you. Congratulations.
It's been a lot of fun.
Leo Neugebauer, the champion in the decathlon, collegiate record holder. Dwight?
All right, John, what a great career he had. 1,340-point improvement over his first score at those Texas relays when he was a freshman. That's amazing. And again, he has upside potential in several events that I can think of right off the top of my head. Potential Olympic champion, potential future world record holder, Leo Neugebauer. All right, things have certainly changed. Parker Valby now up near the front, second place. Pack is stringing up pretty nicely, I would say. Certainly better than in the first couple of laps.
They did pick things up just a bit. It went from 83 seconds on the second lap, 76.5. Now we're settled in right around 77 seconds. They are 5:21 through 1,600. Thanks to the command that Taylor Rowe has had to kind of break open things that were so very conservative in the early part of this race. Parker Valby attaching herself to her. The duo from NC State, Amaris Tynesma and Grace Hartman, doing a great job up there as well, tucked behind Taylor Rowe. That is Hilda Olomomoy. But look at Parker Valby. She's hanging out. She's enjoying it, looking around, getting some cues from the crowd. She's taking it all in right now.
She's on a fun run. When they come by the start-finish, they'll have 20 laps remaining. So we're going to step aside for a moment, come back with more of our coverage of this 10,000 meters, almost certain to be a meet record. Don't you go anywhere. Parker Valby, something special.
Welcome back to Hayward Field. A night for the ladies here at the NCAA Championships. This is Chloe Timberg out of Rutgers. She's a junior. This is her first attempt at 14.11, and she would go over. Give me that's 14.9. She would go over, and she would take the lead in this competition. This is Hannah Mall on her second attempt. Same bar, 14 feet 9 inches. One miss at this bar, but she gets over on a second attempt. Big clearance for her there. The NCAA champion indoors stays true. And now this is Amanda Mall. We'll see if she can match her sister. This is a third attempt for the Washington Husky. Both ladies coached by Toby Crash Stevenson, and that would be a third attempt miss for Amanda Mall. She would go out, but she would finish in 5th place, tied for 5th, having made 14.5 1/4. 3 athletes remaining in the pole vault. The bar has gone up to 14 feet 11.
And you can see that all the field events are available on ESPN Plus. Right now we got the pole vault going on along with the shot and the javelin. As we return to the 10,000 meters, when they come by, there'll be 17 laps remaining. Parker Valby still up there following Taylor Rowe of Oklahoma State. Seems happy with that pace. Helen Olamomoy is also there. They are very familiar with each other, being in the same conference, Valby and Olamomoy.
However, did not see them go head-to-head at the SEC meet because Hilda only ran the 10, Parker only ran the 5. Pace now has quickened to 32.46 thanks to about a 75.5 last 400 meters. As you can see, those 3 are separating themselves, but Tynesma of NC State doing a great job of hanging in there as well. Tynesma was part of the cross-country three-peat for the Wolfpack.
And because she's going to double back in the 5,000, maybe Parker Valby doesn't go for it here in the 10,000 and try to negative split it and get that meet record. She may just be happy to take the win, providing she can do that.
Rarely does she ever break records. Rarely does she not break records, right, when she's on the track, especially in a championship. 74.5 last 400 meters through 3,200. They are at 10.25 with that quartet having separated themselves pretty significantly. Keep in mind, too, Parker often likes to run the second half of the race even quicker, so just likely biding her time until she's going to make that bold move and escape the positioning that she has surrounded by this group. But they've done a great job of packing and really working together, especially after it was just dangerously slow through the first 600, 800 meters.
And there's the pack that's well behind them.
And that includes Andrea Markiewicz of Notre Dame, 4th fastest in the NCAA so far this season going into the championship meet. Sister of Olivia, the defending steeplechase champion. She's sitting there with their dad, Ron, who ran at Notre Dame and was once the Irish 10K record holder himself. Andrea previously competed at Washington, grad transfer to join her sister at Notre Dame. So obviously Olivia on to the finals in the steeplechase. Now Andrea trying to join her in terms of All-American status at an NCAA meet as Parker Valby looking around. Okay, that got a little dangerous there. She always, you can very well read what's going on.
I don't think we'll be seeing that kind of playfulness and mugging from her when she competes at the Olympic trials. But she's getting an idea of what it looks like, feels like to be on this track, running this distance, which she'll be doing in a few weeks right back here at a time where the conditions might even be tougher.
And she might be reacting to some of the cues that she's getting. That portion of the track right there is where a lot of coaches and teammates will stand. So that also could be what it is just purely reacting to some of the commands that are being shared. And we've talked so much about Parker Valby's individual success, of course, and the titles that she has won at the NCAA level, but she said that it's really bittersweet that this is the last NCAA championship that they're going to have as a team. She was part of the championship team 2 years ago, a big crew of those seniors, Claire Bryant, Grace Stark, so important to the Gators program, and they really want to get another team title at the end of the weekend. There you go, she's looking. But she said her favorite memories so far have been the team championships, both at the SEC cross-country level and then the NCAA outdoor title. She looks like she tossed something off to the side there where things got just a little bit close. There we go, taking another look. Yeah, they didn't exactly like how that went for her right there. So we'll see if she starts to get a bit anxious and tries to overtake Taylor Rowe.
I would expect it to be see how I feel at 5,000 meters, what's going on, have we quickened the pace, go after the meet record. Certainly within her capability to do that and come back and run a very strong 5,000 on Saturday. All right, when this lead group comes back around, they'll have 13 laps remaining. So we will step aside for the second time during the race, come back with more coverage of this 10,000 meter final for the ladies. All right, let's get you caught up on a little long jump. And Dan.
The Canadian Grand Prix is now what we're going to see tomorrow with Christopher Morales-Williams in the 400. All right, let's go to the women's long jump. This is Alyssa Jones, a sophomore out of Stanford. This is her second attempt. She would come up big here in the championships. On this second attempt, she was third at the NCAA Indoor Championship. She was your Pac-12 winner. But here in the third round, she goes 21.9.5. But this is Akeelia Smith, the defending champion. She's the #1 ranked long jumper in the country. She was only third this year at the Big 12 Championships, but she was a World Championship finalist, one of the up-and-coming stars from Jamaica. In the third round, she'd go 22.3.5, and this would be a really close long jump competition. Then Miss Excitement, Claire Bryant from Florida, the senior, four-time NCAA outdoor qualifier. She brings it down the runway, and on her fifth attempt, she would go 22.1.5, knowing she's got one more jump remaining, but she was the SEC indoor and outdoor champ. Put on a show there in Gainesville, and Thea Charlton, the transfer from Kentucky, just adding to more jump strength power there down in the swamp, but this would be her sixth and final attempt. Just a sophomore at Florida. She was second at the SEC Championships, and she would stretch it out to 21.7.5. But the winner in the women's long jump would be the junior from Texas, and Akeelia Smith would come away with the championship on that third round jump. Claire Bryant only 2 inches behind. So big points for the Florida Gators with a second and a fourth place finish.
All right, back to the 10,000 meters. When they come back around, there'll be 9 laps remaining, and they picked up the pace enough to the point where a meet record is inevitable. So we're going to step aside once again, and when we return, we will bring you the conclusion and a meet record, hopefully, when we return to Eugene. Back over to the pole vault and Dan.
Well, we're getting to the conclusion here in the women's pole vault. This is Riley Feltz of Charlotte, the senior, the NCAA indoor runner-up, and the bar is 14.11, and she would get a make, and she would take over the lead. And Chloe Timberg would actually go up 1 bar here. She led after the last bar, but Chloe Timberg on her first attempt, and she would scrape over, and she would make it look easy, and she would take the lead back over, the 3-time Big Ten champ. This thing is not done yet.
Back to the 10,000 meters. 7.5 laps remaining. 6.5 laps, I should say, are remaining. And moments ago, Parker Valby getting into the lead. And look, this is a problem with lap runners. This is going to be an issue. And this is where disaster can strike. A little elbowage there.
Yeah, you can see the reaction from Parker. Things getting a little bit contentious, or at least appear to be just a little bit as they're having to navigate some traffic. Rowe kind of edged Parker Valby out there a little farther. Gives her a glance over, and that's maybe what has sparked Parker Valby to surge up into the front. Indeed she has, and Hilda Olomomoy is going to go with her. Olomomoy running with incredible confidence right now. She's been very, very steady, very dangerous over the course of the outdoor season. She has seen Parker Valby enough that she's not scared to make those moves that she knows Valby will tend to do. So she's going to cover it. She's going to attempt to go with her as Taylor Rowe has settled in behind Parker Valby. And the command at the regional meet for Valby was to go with about 1,600 remaining. They've slowed significantly. They had been right around 5 minutes through the 1600s. They are now at 5:11 through the most recent 1600 meter mark. Still, though, on pace to edge that meet record. As you see, every time Valby gets to the backstretch, she looks over to the backstretch of the track. She's looking over toward the stands.
And it looks like he was either confused by the direction or didn't agree with it. But Rowe and Olomomoy have both covered the move. Parker Valby has not put on a big surge to try and drop them. She does have good leg speed, and there's still quite a bit of running remaining.
What you like to see is this is different than the way she has typically raced. She kind of had to be more conservative at the regional meet, at the qualifier. Saw her really be restrained through the early part of it and be much more tactical in her execution. Coming up on the 8,000 meter mark.
5 laps remaining now. Plenty of running still to be done.
25:42.
And they're going to be lapping more and more runners as this goes on. It's a huge understatement to say that it would be an upset were Parker Valby to lose this 10,000 meters. But she by no means has it in the bag at this point.
She's looking incredibly relaxed, though, as you just kind of see her demeanor. When she ran that 10K to set the collegiate record, the 5K was set up and paced for her through the halfway point. The second half of the race, she had to do it all by herself. She said that was really a challenge at that and learned a lot. In that experience, she's going to have a similar challenge to fend off the charge from Hilda Olomomoy.
Taylor Rowe has been dropped, so it's now just Valby and Olomomoy, 2 SEC champions. Olomomoy winning the 10,000 at the conference meet, Valby winning the 5,000 at the conference meet just a month ago.
What's so impressive to wrap your mind around, too, with Parker Valby, as they have run a 74-second last 400 with Parker Valby moving to the front, is the fact this is the first full year that she has been healthy. A year ago in 2023, didn't even compete during the indoor championship season, was able then to pull off the 5K title. So there is no ceiling on truly what she can do. And what you love about this situation right now, so much of the season is set up to be in fast races to get certain standards or certain marks. This is pure racing, pure competition that you have right here.
And Parker Valby doesn't put in a lot of mileage. She doesn't do it the way a lot of the athletes have been trained to do it over the years, probably because of those nagging injuries that she had early in her career, and it certainly has worked well for her in terms of the times that she's been able to run and the championships she has been able to garner.
And with that, they have brought out the lights at Hayward Field. We are racing under the spotlight, and the spotlight is on Parker Valby with 3 laps to go. And you can see she's done a good job of putting enough of a surge in to separate herself. She has gone with authority to give her a gap on Olomomoy. She would be at 32 minutes flat. That would break the meet record. 74 seconds is what she has settled into comfortably for the last few 400 meters, and she's done a great job of conserving as much energy as possible, as necessary, to give herself the best chance at defending the 5K title come Saturday.
And you can see that she's picked up her turnover and taking advantage of that gap that she has created. Alabama coach imploring Hilda Olomomoy to try and bridge that gap, but look, it's already become 15 meters. That's awful tough with those lapped runners in between. When she goes by the start finish, she'll have 2 laps remaining. And she just seems to be getting quicker and looking better as Olomomoy now makes that move to get in front of that group that has been passed. But look at Valby's turnover.
71 seconds for the last 400, and this is the strength of Parker Valby. We often talk about it's not so much about, not getting, or about, not slowing down. It's just who sustains the pace, whereas Parker Valby actually gets faster as the race goes on. She is not only able to endure and hold a pace better than everyone else, at the point everyone else is in pain is when she finds her next gear and she finds full form at the point where everyone else is fighting fatigue. She gets better as races go on.
Hey, you're good. Hey, you got 100 meters on third.
You can hear some of the cues. The great audio that we have down there is getting you kind of some of the conversation happening down on the track from the coaches. Now, how much will she break the meet record by? Watch the clock as she comes up on the bell lap.
She ran 30, 50, 43 at the Brian Clay Invitational just about 2 months ago. Here she is, the bell. If she runs 71, she'll be something in the 30, 31, 45 area.
And she's used to running by herself. This type of situation isn't scary for her. This is where Parker Valby thrives, when she is all by herself.
And it's just Parker Valby against the clock. She's got 50 meters easy on Helen Olamomoy, who's running actually a very outstanding race. She'll get close to her lifetime best. Half a lap remaining. And we'll see her again in 2 days in the 5,000 meters. She's just a point machine for her Florida Gators. Parker Valby, the junior from Florida, getting ready to earn her 5th national championship and blast the meet record set back in 2018, 31:46.09 officially.
Olamomoy also below the meet record with that finish.
And that's a lifetime best for Helen Olamomoy, and she owes that to Parker Valby.
62.7 last 400 meters.
Helen Olamomoy is the first time under 32 minutes for her. She'll be right back on this track in a couple of weeks, trying to make the U.S. Olympic team.
Great embrace there with Taylor Rowe, who was an absolute warrior for the first part of that race to take third for the 10,000. Valby emotional as she heads over to greet John Anderson. Her parents are here in the stands to see another national title for her. Hilda Olamomoy there too. Immense respect between this field of competitors who have gone up against each other so many times, going back into the cross-country season, throughout the indoor season, and here to the outdoor championships. Here is where Parker Valby threw down that vicious surge.
3 laps remaining, and Helen Olamomoy just really didn't have an answer for it because she was running at a pace that she had never run before. Even with that first couple of slow laps, Helen Olamomoy broke her own personal best by 14 seconds.
And over the finish line, an emphatic Gator chomp for Parker Valby, who adds 10 points for Florida's team title hopes. They got big points in the long jump just recently as well. That is going to get things going for the Gators very well. Would love to know what these two are talking about at this point right now. Both should be back for the 5,000 Saturday.
There are the final results. Parker Valby with a meet record and a 5th NCAA title. Hilda Olamomoy with a gigantic lifetime best. First time under 32 minutes at 31:51.89. Taylor Rowe, who really worked hard through the middle of that race, set it up for Parker Valby to set that meet record. She ends up 3rd. All right, the 10,000 of the books. All we've got left to go is talk to Parker and run the 4x400 relay heats.
Welcome back to Hayward Field in the 2024 NCAA Track and Field Championships. Parker Valby. There you see her towing the line to start the 10,000. 25 laps later, she finally comes through in a meet and collegiate record. 31-46. Little elbowing there with Molly. What were you doing there? There's a lot of room on the track. Why are you guys throwing elbows?
You know, I'm a really wide gal, and my elbows when I run, they're just out here, so didn't mean to, but, you know.
Okay. If we were here 1 year ago, although we were in Austin, but in the last year,
God, that was so, actually,
but you had no national championships. Now you have 5. How would you describe this past year?
Oh, it's been very surreal. Yeah, I was the first loser a few times in a row there. And I don't like losing, so it was a good step up to yeah, it's been an awesome year. Really surreal. I obviously worked really hard for it, but I'm super grateful for everything.
And yet you kind of credit, right, it was a breakthrough here in the 5,000 behind Caitlin Tui a few years ago that set you on your way. So this place seems kind of special. What are your thoughts on running at Hayward Field?
It's honestly the most awesome stadium I've ever run in. I haven't run in many, but I mean Texas was cool and all, but Hayward, you can't compare to this.
All right, what do we got to do between now and get ready for the 5,000?
Ooh, lots of kombucha, naps, recovery juice from Whole Foods that people in this town sold out. So if you're drinking my recovery juice at Whole Foods, the blue one, please don't buy it. This Whole Foods, by the way, out of stock of everything. Everything.
I understand you like the one in Gainesville.
I love the one in Gainesville.
Okay, real quick. You're going to be back here in a couple weeks. Olympic trials. How much are we thinking about that, even if it's a little in the offing?
You know, I'm taking it day by day. Today we're focused on the 25 laps. Tomorrow we'll be focused on napping all day. And the next day we'll focus on 12 and a half laps.
And then you can focus on 10 big points because the Gators are really in good shape. How much would the championship mean to you?
Oh my God, that would be the most amazing thing ever. That was my #1 moment in history, was winning the championship with my team 2 years ago.
Perhaps another national championship as a team for Parker Valby, champion the 10,000, 5,000 in 2 days. Great to have her here. More track coming soon. The 4x4 to finish up day 1 in the semifinals on Women's Day here at Hayward Field.
Back at Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon, we're getting ready now for the final event on the track, the 3 semifinal heats of the women's 4x400 relay. There are the collegiate meet and collegiate leaders. Arkansas setting that collegiate record less than 2 weeks ago. There are the lane assignments for heat number 1. It's a lane race, so the top 2 finishing teams will automatically qualify through to Saturday's final. Then the next 3 fastest times over the 3 heats that were not automatic qualifiers. We're looking specifically in this heat at lane number 6, the Tennessee Volunteers, the number 2 time in the country this year, and South Carolina in lane 7, the number 3 time in the NCAA this year. There is the leadoff runner for Tennessee, Giovanna Valcourt, the sophomore. This is where we give our disclaimer of we are getting these relay orders from the coaches. They turn them in, but things tend to change between when they turn in those orders and we get them. So if we misidentify any runners, it is not on purpose. It is simply because we received incorrect information. We will do the best to try and fix that. And our spectacular director, Jim Carr, will get in close on the athletes as he can so that we can read the names off the bibs. Lane 9 is a scratched Harvard, not showing up for this heat. From the inside, Utah, Kentucky, and Clemson. Then Oregon, Tennessee, South Carolina, and on the outside, Texas A&M.
Well, you got Oregon in the middle of the track there. They're going to lead off with Shayna Grebo, the 400-meter hurdler who did get through and qualified. South Carolina goes with Zaya Akins, but they're going to go with Jayla Jamison on the second leg. She's a 200-meter finalist. Tennessee, Giovanna Valcourt, but they'll anchor with the 400-meter finalist, Brianna White. But South Carolina will also get a chance to see Jamisha Ford on the anchor leg for the Lady Gamecocks.
So they'll stay in their lane all the way around to the exchange. Then the outgoing runner will stay in the same lane through the full turn. Then they break for the pole on the backstretch. Very close to who passed first, but it looked like Tennessee. There is Oregon. Oregon looks like they're out front at this point, and that's going to make the crowd very happy.
52.5 for Shayna Grebo there, the 400-meter hurdler. And we talk about those 400-meter hurdlers, man. They got all kinds of strength. This is the second run of the day for her.
Ella Clayton slated on this second leg. That is actually Ella. Kentucky in second currently, and then Clemson.
Onika McAniff for Kentucky in that second position, but Oregon running well up front with Ella Clayton.
McAniff was a very obvious false start in her heat of the 400. I'm a little bit surprised to see her run there. Kentucky will hand off first, or Oregon. It was Kentucky. And the outgoing runner for Kentucky, that is Alexis Glasgow. And Oregon goes by on the inside. Oh my gosh, Katrina Wright saw the opening and went for it. Savvy running by Katrina Wright for the Ducks, the junior.
Well, and she is motoring right there at the 200-meter mark, not holding anything back. Let's see how she finishes here as we get a move by Tennessee from third to second.
Tennessee definitely making a huge move here. That is DeJour Miles, the senior, putting the Volunteers in second place. Kentucky is doing the swim and fading badly. And Tennessee all the way up to exchanging the baton first. No, Oregon keeps the lead with Shania Hall on the anchor for the Ducks. Remember, the first two over the finish line automatically qualifying through to Saturday's final.
51-7 for Katrina Wright there, the Oregon Ducks, the junior. Shania Hall, though, remember, she led off the Ducks in that 4x100-meter relay.
Yeah, Jamisha Ford now for South Carolina is going to run the Gamecocks right into this thing, right past Oregon. That will make the crowd sad.
Well, Jamisha Ford, she's run some fantastic 400-meter legs on relays. 50 seconds flat a couple times this season. And look at her go. She's in the 200-meter final, and she's getting her second run of the day in.
Just a freshman. This is an impressive anchor carry for Jamisha Ford, running her Gamecocks into the final. Oregon ends up fourth. 49-7 for the freshman. What can't she do? There's the winning time for South Carolina, and it was Tennessee finishing second. They automatically qualify. Just quick over to Dan.
49-7.
Just quickly over to Dan for women's javelin.
Well, fireworks here in the women's javelin before the sun went down. This is Anna Davidson, the junior from Texas A&M. This on her first attempt, she would throw it just shy of 200 feet. She was the NCAA runner-up last year. She was the SEC champion the last 2 seasons. But people have been talking all season long about the javelin throwers from Nebraska. And here's Rima Otabor, the senior from Nebraska, the defending champion in the 5th round. She would go huge. Look at her come straight up the gut, second at the Pan American Games. The defending champion in 2023's she takes over the number 5 throw in the world, and in the 5th round, 210 feet 7 inches, new personal best, new meet record, new collegiate record, and she's inconsolable right there. But this is what the Nebraska Cornhuskers have done all season long. Congratulations to Rima Otabor of Nebraska.
All right, huge throw on the women's javelin. Here are the results from that first of 3 heats in the 4x400 relay. That young lady, freshman Jamisha Ford of South Carolina, ran her Gamecocks from about 4th place with 1 lap remaining all the way to the victory in 3:27.10. They have run 3:25.02 this year. Tennessee getting that second automatic qualifying spot as we're getting ready now for second heat of 3 as we're looking in the middle of the track at the Tigers of LSU. They've run the number 5 time in the country this year for collegians, and just outside of them will be Georgia, who've run the number 4 time in the country this year. There is Shania Bellamy. She will be the second carry for LSU, the only senior on the squad.
Well, tough day for Shania Bellamy. She didn't get through in the 100-meter hurdles, and she was 9th in the 400-meter hurdles, and that is a tough place to be. But the LSU Tigers, they'll lead off with Ella Onajuwebo. She did qualify for the finals in the 400, so good starting. And then we'll see Michaela Rose, the 800-meter runner on 3rd leg. And that's probably, you know, a second run of the day is not going to hurt her, right, Lara?
Oh, no. This is what she does. She is well accustomed to running that leg, and she wants to because she is so team first. She wants to contribute in absolutely every way possible, especially with how significant the Tigers have those team aspirations to be. This is a big part of it right here to position the relay in addition to her 800, of course.
Well, just to the outside of LSU, Georgia goes. They'll start with Aaliyah Butler, go to Kimberly Harris, the senior. Kimberly Harris finished in 12th place in the 400 meters, didn't get through the qualifying, and really a little upsetting for Aaliyah Butler as well. Had run in one of the fastest 400s of this season, right alongside with those Arkansas ladies under 52nd, but she only finishes in 14th place today. So she'll be running with a little bit of chip on her shoulder. So Kimberly Harris is going first. She looks like she's got a baton. Maybe we'll see Aaliyah Butler on that second leg.
There's a little bit of a delay on the track, so let's take advantage of that and go back to the women's pole vault.
All right, Chloe Timberg on her first attempt at 15.5.5. You saw her go clear on the last bar, but she would get another big time make, the 4-time Big Ten champ, 15.5.5. And look at the clearance here. Brush on the way up. Oh, barely a brush on the way down. This would be a meet record, a personal best, and she would take over the number 4 jump all time at the NCAA level, but she would come home with the victory. Riley Phelps of Charlotte and Hannah Mall, the freshman who won indoors, will settle for 3rd.
3 Washington pole vaulters scoring, including Amanda Mole, who got a tie for 5th place. So a lot of points for the Huskies, and Coach Toby Crash Stevenson doing a good job with his vaulters up there in Seattle. Here are the lane assignments for heat number 2. And we're featuring LSU in lane 5, Georgia in lane 6. Temperature right at 70 degrees now here in Eugene. Just a little after 9:10 p.m. West Coast time. Thank you folks on the East Coast for hanging in there after midnight. From the inside, Northern Arizona, Ohio State, and Miami of Florida. Then in the middle, LSU, Georgia, Houston, and on the outside, Northwestern State and Colorado.
Well, Houston has run 3:27 this year. Georgia has run 3:26, and LSU has run 3:26. Sydney Townsend, the senior who's qualified in the 400-meter hurdle, she leads off for the Houston Cougars.
Northwestern State's leadoff runner doing a good job out there. That is Megan Shaw, the junior. Now Houston and Georgia starting to make up that space that was created. LSU lagging right now, but making a big run near the end.
Good run by Kimberly Harris, the senior from Georgia, going by Sydney Townsend there.
LSU and Georgia hand off together.
51.7 for Georgia, 51.6 for LSU.
So Georgia's going to take the pole position. Would rather see them run that tangent. No reason to run further distance. Georgia, LSU, Houston.
That's Haley Tate for Georgia. Shania Bellamy goes for LSU, and for Houston, Imam Babineau.
That's Northwestern State in 4th place, I believe. Ohio State, I should say. Okay, here they come down the finishing stretch. They make the second handoff. Still Georgia, followed by LSU and then Houston. Very crowded, a lot of traffic there with the second handoff. For Georgia, that is Sydney Harris. For LSU, Michaela Rose getting a little speed work in after qualifying easily in the 800 meters earlier this afternoon.
And Rose has run a 51-29 split on the 4x4 this season.
Rose taking her LSU Tigers into the lead with 200 meters remaining.
Also, Kellyanne Beckford, another 800 runner on this third leg, running for Houston, looking to get them right into that top 3.
Well, Sydney Harris there, the younger sister of Kimberly Harris, who led off for the Georgia Bulldogs there, doing a good job to keep them in the mix here.
Rose keeps LSU in the front for the final handoff. She'll hand off to Gariel White. And for Georgia, Dominic Mustin.
51-1 split from Michaela Rose to pull the Tigers into the lead going into this anchor leg.
This is Gariel White for LSU, Dominic Mustin for Georgia. And guys, Dominic Mustin, high school teammates with Jaden Mays here from the University of Oregon at North Canyon in Phoenix, Arizona.
LSU, Georgia, Houston. Houston not done yet. That is Michaela Mouton on anchor for the Cougars into second place. Remember, the top 2 are automatic qualifiers, and she says, you know what, let's just win this thing. It'll be Houston winning the heat, followed by LSU. Georgia trying to hang on and run as quickly as they can because the time qualifier is absolutely on.
15.74 on the anchor for Houston. Michaela Mouton.
Let's take a look at this exchange for Georgia.
Hey, ladies, we're heading that way. Ladies, we have to head that way.
Well, that was a good run by Mouton there for the Houston Cougars. She finished 11th in the 400 meters, does not make the final, but she comes back with a vengeance. And she'll be running in the finals of the 4x4 2 days from now. Good run by Dominic Mustin as well.
Let's look back in the first exchange, though, for Georgia. There they are with the big G and the black singlet. Now watch what happens with the outgoing runner. She gets the baton. Her momentum takes her out to the outside lane. But no, she did not impede the outgoing runner for Houston. She did not gain an advantage. And unless there's a card that is thrown at the time by an official, or if a coach makes a protest, that should be okay. But we will stand by and wait to see if anything happens. So let's give you the results of that second heat. Won by Houston, with LSU as the second automatic qualifier. But before we do that, there you go. And Georgia will have to wait to see if that's a time qualifier. Let's go back over to Dan for women's shot.
Well, one of the most anticipated field events at these championships, the women's shot put. This is Jada Ross, the junior from Oregon. She's a championship record holder, over 65 feet, 65.7 3/4. On her second attempt, she would go 62.9 1/2. This is Gabby Morris now, the senior from Colorado State. On her third attempt, she was second at the Mountain West Conference this year, 61.2 3/4. She would spice things up in the third round. This is the Nebraska junior, Axelina Johansson, the defending champion, 3-time Big Ten champ. Threw well at the Drake Relays this year on her third attempt, 59.10 1/4. But tonight belonged to the Oregon Duck, Jada Ross, the Pac-12 champion. She was 5th last year at the NCAA championships, the first collegiate athlete ever to throw over 20 meters. And on her final attempt, she would go a swan song, 64.2 1/2 on the 6th and final throw. She had the lead going in, and she would take the title, and she would bring home the gold for the Ducks. Jada Ross is Jada Boss.
That's a great balance at the board to keep herself from fouling on her big throw. She wins it over Gabby Morris and Axelina Johansson. As we go back for our last race of the night, there they are, the collegiate record-holding Arkansas Razorbacks. Set that record less than 2 weeks ago. They are the defending champions, a combination of juniors and seniors. They have enough 400-meter runners where they do not have to run this particular team. There they are celebrating at home on their own track at the West Regionals just 12 days ago, setting the collegiate record. That is better than 50.5 per carry. But they have the horses for it, that's for certain. They'll be starting in lane number 6. Just inside of them, it's the Longhorns of Texas. They were 4th at the NCAA indoor. There's Amber Anning for the Razorbacks. She will anchor. From the inside, UTEP, South Florida, and USC. Then in the middle, Texas, Arkansas, UCLA. And on the outside, Penn and Stanford.
Well, we know that Arkansas is just in another league, but Texas has gone 327 this season. Southern Cal has gone 327, UCLA 328, but Arkansas has so much depth. They go off, they lead off with Aaliyah Pyatt. Kaylin Brown usually runs in that spot, but then you will see Nikisha Price, Rosie Effiong, and Amber Anning.
This is just speed work. There's no other reason for those three to run this race. They've got the horses to run other people and easily qualify.
It's a second run, a conditioning run of the day, but Yemi John goes for USC. We didn't see her in any of the open events. But she's doing a good job for the Trojans, but it looks like
Texas passes first, but followed by UCLA, and then Arkansas passing third.
Aaliyah Pyatt goes 52.8, but watch out now. Nikisha Price is in there for the Lady Razorbacks. She owns the fastest time in the country this year, number 3 all-time on the 400-meter, women's 400-meter list.
And for Stanford, that's Roisin Willis, fresh off that personal best in the 800 to qualify on to Saturday, running a leg of the 4x4.
Uh-oh, and USC drops the baton. And I didn't see any interference, even though obviously you want to blame somebody, but they are out. Arkansas now followed by Texas and the Bruins of UCLA in third.
Well, and Bella Whitaker from Penn, she's coming up in 4th position. Her sister's going to take the baton for Stanford and run the third leg.
Madison White went ahead and went back, picked up the baton, and is trying to keep USC in the race, but just too much ground that's been given up with the quality of teams that are out there right now.
50.2 for Nikisha Price, and here goes Rosie Effiong.
Kayla Garrett, the freshman for Texas, marking Arkansas closely. They're 1-2. That's what you want to be here today. Top 2 automatically qualifying. UCLA at least 10 meters back in third.
Now look at Rosie Effiong close. She's got energy to burn.
And the Brit, Amber Anning, will anchor for the Razorbacks, and for Texas, Dejanay Oakley on anchor.
Dejanay Oakley finished 14th in the 200 meters, so she will not be in the final.
A leisurely 50.9 for Rosie Effiong on that third leg. And now Amber Anning all the way out there by herself. Just doesn't look like she's moving very quickly, though she is. Razorbacks just owned this event, defending champions, collegiate record holders. 4 Arkansas Razorbacks in the 400-meter heats. They all got through for the final. Wouldn't be a surprise if they were to sweep it 1 through 4 on Saturday.
And look at Dejanay Oakley, man. She's going to get Texas in to the final here.
Arkansas crosses first, Texas second. UCLA hanging in there, hoping to get a time qualifier. 3:25.51 for the Razorbacks. Texas 3:27.79, just over their season best. The Bruins 3:30 26. And that is over the bubble. That will not be a time qualifier for UCLA.
Well, here you see the first exchange. It's a 3-turn stagger. These staggers are really big. Good exchange there by Texas. Nikisha Price, good job. She looked like she got the baton in about 3rd place. Nikisha Price is running pretty close here to the USC runner, but the USC runner just,
Madison White, a freshman.
She hit it on Nikisha Price's arm, but it didn't look like it was intentional, certainly. But here's Rosie Effion getting the baton from Nikisha Price. I'm sure we will see some kind of a protest.
No question. Joanna Hayes is a professional coach. She'll do what she needs to do. She's got to try and get her Trojans into the final. She will protest that. Final exchange, Amber Anning for Arkansas and Janae Oakley for Texas. Those are your automatic qualifiers out of that. Now let's take a look and see who will advance to the finals on Saturday. And we fully expect that both the men's and women's team titles could go down to this final event, the 21st event of those championships, the 4x400 relay. Here are your qualifiers. Oregon with the last qualifying spot at 328.77, but Arkansas just too much firepower. You can almost guarantee that if they're within 10 points of being able to get the national title, they'll be able to do it with that 4x400 relay team. So we have some scores. One running final, of course. Florida already with 26 points, largely on the strength of that 10 points for Parker Valby and Claire Bryant in the long jump as well. Nebraska with that collegiate record in the javelin, second at 22. Then Oregon, 7 back in third with 15, and you can see the rest right there. But lots of events left to go. In fact, 15 events left to be contested on Saturday. So that wraps up preliminary days for the ladies from here at the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships. Join us tomorrow for the men's finals to find out which team ends up 2024 NCAA Outdoor Champion. Coverage starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, and don't forget, you can catch this exclusive field event streaming on ESPN Plus beginning at 4 p.m. For John Anderson, Lara Overton, Dan O'Brien, on our great statisticians, Tom Lewis and Rich Benoit. We couldn't do without him. And great job in the truck today, guys. I'm Dwight Stones. We'll see you for men's finals tomorrow here in Eugene.